is big, and it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Hello everyone and welcome to another week of Live at the Bike brought to you by the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real action cash game poker. It's another week. We actually did a show on Sunday. It's Tuesday. Tuesday's going to start us off with 2040 No Limit Hold'em. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I told you, I was kind of missing it yesterday. I didn't know what to do last night.
On a Monday?
I didn't know what to do. I was like, there's no Monday Night Football. There's no Live at the Bike.
Never watch high stakes poker.
I had no idea.
Anything that we talk about on the show.
I had no idea what to do last night. But yeah, we got 2040 blinds.
$2,000 minimum buy-in. Some people might have some less because we started off at 1020. Everybody's new with the exception of Al. Yeah. So let's head over there and let's get into it.
Yeah.
Go around, introduce.
Probably got well over 40,000 on the table right now, and this game is going to get big. Seat number one, we've got Mikhail. That's Michael. And Michael, I actually played with Michael about 3 nights ago. Played four-handed with him and five-handed with him for a while. He took a big pot from me when he flopped 2-pair against my ace-king. And then I took a big pot from him when we both flopped trip aces and I had a bigger kicker. And we kind of like 1-1 here. But a very good player. I like his game. Seat number two, we've got Danny. Now, Danny's got a lot of money behind him. Looks like a solid player. We'll see how he plays tonight. Seat number three, we've got Jeff with the cigar. And Jeff straight out of Cuba. And that is a Cuban cigar. It is illegal.
He's new. Seat
number four, we've got T-O-D-D. That's right. That's Todd. And we'll keep track of him all night, see what it does. Seat number five, we've got Joe. Joe's from Philadelphia. Plays on Doyle's room. Philly. Solid player. He's a cash game player out of Philly.
Philly Joe.
Yeah, and he likes to go to likes to play in Atlantic City, but he's out here for Legends. Seat number six, we've got Gary Indiana there, and that's actually one of the guys who's not new. He actually played last week.
That's right.
And Gary's probably not from Indiana, but I like that song. Seat number seven, we've got Larry. We like to call him Lawrence. Seat number eight, we've got... And that actually is, I believe that's Jaime. That actually is Jaime. And Jaime's actually been on the show actually once before. I remember seeing him. He plays some tournaments, so follow the circuit around. And seat number nine is none other than Alan. That's Alan.
Is Alan sporting the fan, or is that Jaime's fan? Alan's new fan. Look at that. Well, we're playing 2040 No Limit. The brown chips are $10 chips. The whites are hundreds. Blues are $1 tokes. This is a collection pot game. $11 per half hour for the winner of each collection pot pays the collection for the entire table.
Right.
Collection pot is that yellow disc over there.
And obviously the pot has to be a minimum of $600 to make it a collection pot.
As always, you can email us at live@thebike.com. Questions, comments, suggestions.
Now it'll be interesting to see how these players play 2040. Obviously, sometimes players play 2040 and it's and they play a little tighter almost. Because the blinds are so big, they played almost a little more passive. Really interesting to see how these guys play it today.
We're going to see this one, looks like 5 ways here. So
$200 pot.
$200 pot. 993 here. Looks like pocket sevens over there for Alan in seat 9 is the best hand. Wow. He does not bet one off the button. And
How do you not bet
around.
that? How do you not bet that?
Turns a deuce. It's a third spade. And let's see if Alan's going to bet now. Well,
James is going to... Jaime. I'm not exactly 100% sure. It's funny, we thought his name was James, but when I saw him, I thought I recognized him, and I thought he was Jaime. So we'll have to get a confirmation on that. Oh, it is James. Okay, then I apologize.
James is going to bet. Well, at least that makes it easier. He bets 90. Alan calls. Now, if James were to check the river here, would you bet for value ever with sevens?
You might.
How about on this card here? He checks, and Alan, of course, does not bet the river. I don't know if...
I mean, you can only beat 5s and 6s.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could beat ace-3. You can beat ace-deuce.
Right.
You could beat a spade draw if somebody had, like, the ace of spades. Would he pay you off with ace-high? Who knows? Obviously, we'll never know.
As always, again, you can email us at live@thebike.com. You can also follow a thread started on the internet, 2plus2.com, spelled out. Click on forums. World Poker Tour and other televised poker.
I got to tell you, I had a lot of fun on Sunday doing the ladies tournament. oftentimes doing tournaments live can be somewhat boring because we see a lot of pre-flop raise, everybody folds. Pre-flop raise, everybody folds. But in Sunday's tournament, it was actually somewhat. There was a lot of post-flop action. The play was less than stellar, but it was actually a really interesting tournament to commentate on, wasn't it? I really enjoyed it. I got to tell you.
Got a raise here by Michael. He's going to make it 240 with pocket jacks, and wow, the button is going to call with ace jack here.
That's not going to bring Todd in here, the dominated king, I don't think. No, he's going to throw it away. Is James going to call this $200 with the dominated ace? But he is suited. He's going to call it, and the pot is quickly $720.
Yep. A lot of weak aces in here against Michael here with pocket jacks. Here we go to the flop. Well, king, 7, queen. Not the best flop for jacks, but he actually is good. Let's see how he's going to play it. He does not have position. The button did call him with ace jack.
Yeah, it's a tough spot there. I got to tell you, with 2 jacks there, you might just check fold. I mean, maybe you put a bet out there and see what Jeff does, but once you check it, what are you going to do?
He has checked, and Jeff has bet, and that looks like it is going to do it. Remember, it's not a tournament. You can pick a better spot, right? No inherent need to gather chips.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you got to realize the pot is now $720. If you bet into him, you really got to make it look like a real bet, which means you've really got to bet at least $500, I think.
Yep.
And maybe that's what Jeff was thinking there. He probably doesn't value ace jack offsuit that much, but maybe he does value the button. Thinking, okay, well, maybe my opponent will miss and I can take it away regardless. And makes a nice post-flop bet there and takes it down.
Button moves over here to C4. Again, we are playing 20, 40, no limit. Brown chips are 10s. White chips are 100s. If you're watching this, you are watching the free half-an-hour portion of Live at the Bike. If you want to watch this entire show, you will be redirected after a half an hour is done. Click on the on-demand banner so that you can watch the entire show. $14.95 a month gets you access to this show in its entirety and every other show that we've ever done for almost a year and a half now.
I can't believe it's only $14.95 a month for what we give away here. Commentary from some of the biggest and best names in all of poker.
Now it gets limped around here, a couple limpers, and the cutoff in seat 3 is going to make it 220 to go with 7-9 of diamonds. Now Alan limped in with king-queen offsuit. Again, a very difficult hand. Wow, James is really in love with those suited aces.
And he got no money, though. That's the problem. He's really, really not deep at all.
Clubs here.
James only got like another maybe $300 or $100 behind.
I'm surprised he didn't just push there. Well, I mean, why would you want Allen in the hand, right?
Well, or you just throw it away. I mean,
10-7-8 here. Well, Jeff's definitely flopped the best of it here. Who's the pre-flop raiser, pairing an open-ended straight draw.
Yeah, it's a nice flop for you.
Betting 500.
He's going to bet 500. That's
he's going to take it away.
Do it. Yeah.
And James is just kind of bleeding off his chips little by little. And I got to tell you, when you're down to 500 chips in this game, it really comes to a point where you just got to push.
Yep.
And when you think you have the best of it, push it, try to double up, and then go from there. Now, you and I actually, after Sunday's ladies event, you and I both played in the $300 multi-rebuy tournament. Unbelievable value tournament. Over $200,000 prize pool. $130,000 for first place. And you did quite well. I want to talk about that. You did really well. You came in 17th place last
night. I came in 17th.
Really a nice showing for over 400 people in the tournament.
515, actually.
515, okay.
Yeah, I got $2,600. The funny thing is that you were doing really well at the start. I was almost thinking about thinking about not doing an add-on. For some reason, I got really tired.
Yeah.
And then I actually drank a Miller Lite, because sometimes that would re-energize me, and it did. And I was just like, okay. I did an add-on, and you were going to give me like 5-1 as a last longer, because you had like 9,000 in chips, I had 1,600. I said, you know what? I'm not going to do it, because every time I don't bet with you, I do well. Every time I do, I lose.
It was actually insane. You got a raise here from seat 5. He's got ace-6 on the button. Yeah. And that should be enough to get it down, take it down.
Yeah, ace-6 of clubs there.
Yeah, and he's going to steal the $60 in the blinds. Now, yeah, it was almost amazing. Within the first 3 levels, the levels were 40 minutes long. After the first 3 levels, 2 hours into the tournament, we only started with 2,000 in chips, and I had my chips all the way up to almost 8,000.
Yeah.
I was just running over my table.
So you probably didn't do an add-on because it wouldn't be worth it, right?
No, I did one add-on.
You did, really?
I did one add-on anyway.
You paid $300 for 1,000 chips even though you had 8,000?
I wanted more chips.
Really?
Because I really felt good and I was playing well, and I thought I'd get all my money back anyway. And then it just kind of turned south for me.
That's like one of those times when if you accumulate so many chips, is there really value to doing an add-on? Is it worth it?
It might be. I really think there is.
I ended up adding over 150% of my stack with $300. You added about 12% of your stack with $300.
I did, but the thing is, though, is what the extra 1,000 was enables me to do is, let's say somebody makes a raise, and I have pocket 4s or pocket 5s. Well, I can call a little raise now because I have that extra 1,000. It's kind of like discretionary chips now that I can kind of gamble with.
Now, Alan limped in with pocket 9s, and Gary has raised with ace-king on the button. We are heads up here. Well, there's the ace.
And that's inherently the problem with ace-king. Generally speaking, you're not going to get any action from 9s here because the ace is pretty much obvious.
He bets 500 here.
I mean, even Alan can see it and go, oh, well, I can't beat an ace, so I throw it away.
Right.
Now, how is Gary going to get any action? Well, the flop comes out ace-jack 9,
right.
and then he's beat. It's just ace-king is rarely well hidden, and unless you're playing against a player who overvalues ace-jack, ace-10, ace-9, you're not really going to make much money.
Now, I wanted to point out that at the end of the thread on Sunday, of course, we did the ladies' event, the final table, and a lady by the name of, I want to say it was Timmy. No, not Timmy. Timmy was Lee Watkins' Kelly Griggs actually won the tournament. But I wanted to point out at the end of the thread on Sunday that Lee Watkinson actually wrote in about the show over on 2+2 on Sunday, saying how he enjoyed the commentary and he enjoyed the show because his fiance was playing in the event in seat 2.
Raising, make it 120 total.
Yeah, I thought she really did well for herself also. The future Mrs. Lee Watkinson.
Going to raise here by seat 3. He's going to raise it up with ace-deuce. Well, again, we're going to see a lot of tournament-esque play here, Dave, with a big tournament here.
And obviously Lee discovering here. I thought it was amazing how good the commentary and show quality was on just a 5-minute delay. And obviously it's no small feat. Our technical staff really puts out a great show with no...
Now, Joe is called in mid-position with king-9 of spades, and Alan is in there with 8-5, as well as Michael with pocket 7s, and Alan has the best hand here.
Yeah, Alan's outflopped them all.
But again, he's going to play it real passively, vintage Alan. The pot's about $600 here.
Yeah.
Now, Jeff flopped the pair, but again, raising with ace-deuce offsuit. I just can't name a flop that I want to see, Dave, including a flop maybe with 2 aces in it. You still don't know where you're at.
No, you really, unless you flop 2 pair, or unless you flop 2 deuces,
yeah.
Obviously you really don't know where you're at.
Now, Alan has called. Wow, and Michael is going to check raise. Now, Michael might not be that familiar with Alan. Now, Alan might have a diamond draw. He makes the check raise, and you might think you could get Alan off of a diamond draw or an 8, and he does. There you go.
Well, that's the new Alan. Alan's playing a little bit tighter than he used to. He's not just sticking in there with just a top pair.
Right.
He knows if somebody's check raising, they're letting him know that top pair is no good.
Now,
part of the reason Alan's game has actually kind of started to elevate a little bit. I wanted to get back to the tournament a little bit because obviously over 500 people entered this tournament. Like I said, I built up an amazingly big stack right away, but unfortunately came back from the first break. Really couldn't catch much. I made a couple of little mistakes here and there, and before I knew it, I found myself out. You, on the other hand, were almost dead. Turned yourself around.
I had 1,600 at the break.
Yeah,
with the add-on, I had 1,600.
Unbelievable. And then you turn yourself around, obviously, and it just kind of shows you that, in a no-limit tournament, obviously, you're never dead. One hand can really turn it around.
One of the key hands that I had that got me going was I called about 15 to 20% of my stack with 10-9 suited on the button because I know a bunch of people had limped in and that they were probably all going to call. We didn't have really like a limp re-raise style table, and I flopped top 2 pair, and the guy had aces, and it really helped me. Got a raise here by seat 4, and look at this. The big blind's got ace-king of hearts. And Michael is just going to call with ace-king of hearts. He does not re-raise. So if seat 4 hits the ace here, again, these guys bringing in with ace-rag from early position. Wow, and Michael's flopped the nuts. And it goes check, check here. Michael checks and Todd checks behind him. And now the turn's an ace, and is Todd going to get involved here?
And obviously Todd drawing dead here.
And Michael checked it again.
And the only problem with the way Michael's played this hand, though, is he plays it so slow. Now, obviously, he's made more money than...
Well, he's going to min check raise here. Boy, I got to tell you, I am so out of there with ace-8 to a min check raise.
Yeah, it's pretty...
What do you... you
can't beat anything.
Yeah.
You really can't.
He's been drawing dead since the flop. The river's a 10. And now is that going to get him involved thinking that he's going to chop it? But is Michael the type of player that's going to be in there with ace-rag?
Yeah,
and you got to chop it with ace.
You got to realize there's so many hands Michael could have here. King-queen being one of them. 2 pair being one of them. You could have a full house right now. You could have a flush right now. Ace-8, at best, you're chopping it. And it comes down to it. Do you really want to put in 500 to win maybe 250 or 300?
He bets 500 here on the river. So the pot is about 1,200, 500 to call, and like you said, you're putting in 500 to win about 6.
Not even though, because you're not going to win that first 5.
Right.
Though.
Oh,
you're
right,
only putting
yeah.
the original. So what's in the pot right now is 700.
500 doing 350. Yeah.
You're getting,
And you're chopping it, maybe 20, 30% of the time with the line of how this hand's played out here.
You got to realize, do you really think that Michael is going to be betting ace-9 here? Remember, you don't chop it against ace-queen. You don't chop it against ace-king.
And he calls.
Wow.
I got to tell you, I played with Michael this afternoon. He seemed to be a pretty tight, solid player, Dave.
I told you, I played with him for about 3 hours 2 nights ago, four-handed. And obviously, when you're playing four-handed, you really get to know somebody because you play so many more hands against him.
Yeah.
I thought he was a very solid player. I liked his game.
Yeah, would you like a game?
Yeah, obviously in tournaments though, like when you win a big pot with 9-10 suited there, sometimes you just got to do that. That's some of the stuff you have to be able to do in a tournament. And sometimes it's just not your day. You got to catch, and obviously you put yourself in a position to get lucky. And when you got down to 17 people, hey, if you double up there at the end, suddenly you're at the final table and you're making some significant money. Unfortunately for you, you came in the money, but you didn't make significant money.
Button moves over here to seat 9 to Allen.
Always the frustration with a tournament. You can play for 14 hours and not really make much money. And Allen is going to limp in here. And I got to tell you, there are some tables where I don't mind limping. Let's say I've got Dimitri or Ed in the blinds.
Well, he's not open limping. There is a guy in mid position.
Oh, there is. Okay, thank you. Okay, I didn't realize that.
King 6-5 here. Well, Allen's flopped the flush draw, and Todd's got top pair.
I take back my criticism. I actually thought Allen was open limping at a table that was somewhat passive. I was like, why not raise and put some pressure on your opponents?
Todd's going to bet 120. Allen calls with the flush draw.
And you'll rarely see Allen raise on the come. Now, he'll bet on his draw, but he'll rarely raise on the come.
Turns a 5. Todd is still good here.
And that's a really good card here for Todd. He's got the diamond draw now as well. But you wonder, can Allen use that 5 as if he was taking one off with ace-5?
In older times, Allen might have called with the 5. I don't think these days. He's playing a lot better.
He is, but is it a card that you can use?
He doesn't have that much money, though. That's the problem.
Yeah,
like you said,
right.
He's going for a draw that is not hidden at all here.
No.
He's going for the flush draw, which is the obvious
draw. And it's completely
draw.
naked here. He is going to need a heart and only a heart to win this.
And the river's a heart. Todd doesn't even have top pair now.
No, and now you can't even beat. I'm trying to think of what else he could have here. Let's say if Allen was stubborn and was calling you with ace-6 the entire way, but
it's about a $900 pot here. Oh, man, and Todd's just going to push it in, and Allen calls.
And it's a gift. It's just an absolute gift. And normally you'd say, well, there shouldn't be any implied odds here. Todd's got to realize he can't beat anything on the turn there, on the river.
Well, let me ask you this. Was Todd possibly thinking that he was going to try to represent hearts and get a weaker king out of a chop? Now the ace comes. Any other king is going to chop it up with kings and 5s with an ace kicker. Can he get Allen out of there with a weak king?
Get him to throw away a king-queen?
King-queen, king-jack. It's all the same.
I guess so. No, I guess I see.
I'm just trying to.
That's definitely a viable thought there. If Todd is thinking, you're going, well, Allen either has hearts or he has a king.
Yeah.
I got to tell you though, is it worth the risk though? Because think about it. Okay, so what do you think Allen has? Allen either has a king that's going to chop it up with your king.
Yeah.
Or he's got a hearts.
Big blind, please.
I don't know. Sometimes you just got to realize there's not much you can beat anymore, and just check and fold.
Button moves over here to seat 1. Again, there's a couple more minutes left of the free sample. If you want to watch this show in its entirety, click on the on-demand banner, sign up for the archives. You can check out the video blog under special features over on the left-hand screen as well. Saw Vanessa Russo in the hallway, Dave. She is going to be coming on the show September 4th on Monday. After
September
Legends.
4th?
Yep.
Really?
140 total.
What, she's so big now she's got a scheduled time?
Got a raise here by seat 6, Jack 10 of diamonds.
Is she in the $1,000 tournament today?
She got knocked out. I talked to her at 4:45.
She was knocked out already?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Where is she at? She leave?
Yeah, I think she already left. As was our buddy Philly Allen. He's also knocked out at 4:25.
At 425? How many chips did you get?
6-3 deuce here at the couple of
Getting
hearts.
300.
It's not a rebuy tournament. How many chips do they get in $1,000 tournament?
3,000, I believe.
What would the blinds start out at?
I don't know. I
Like
didn't even want to get
25?
into it with them. Gary raised it pre-flop. He's going to make a continuation bet. Now, Joe's got a wheel draw here. Well, actually, he's got a straight draw to the 5. It wouldn't be a wheel. It would be a 6-high straight. And he is going to check raise. And again, this is just vintage kind of tournament-esque play, I think. It really is.
Just, it might be a good read by Joe. Wow, and Gary's going to call.
Wow,
him.
Gary's got to be setting up some sort of play here.
Well,
This pot is
obviously.
quickly $1,300.
I tell you, if a diamond comes off, that's
the
a jack.
turn's a jack. Well, now Gary doesn't necessarily have to move on it now.
No, he doesn't, actually. 100% right. Although it's not a great card, though, because if Joe is making a move with a heart draw, he's gotten there.
And it goes check, check. And the river is a 10, and now Gary makes 2 pair. And if Joe tries to bluff at it, I'm sure Gary is going to at least call here.
Well, and then that's all you really can do is just call.
Yeah.
You got to realize that it's a bluff where the guy's got hearts.
And he checks, and Gary is now going to bet now.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was the thing with Joe there. He check raises him trying to take the pot away. Didn't really have a plan B, though. He said, he probably didn't think it through in the sense of, okay, well, if this guy calls me, what do I do next? Unless he basically said, okay, if he calls me, I'm done with it.
Now, we're privy to the hand there, but I would expect, with that guy betting the river, that he either had the nut flush or 3 jacks. That would probably make sense. Or maybe pocket 10s. You don't necessarily put him on jack 10 there when he calls the check raise, obviously. And he can't have jack 10 of hearts because the jack of hearts comes on the turn.
And you can't blame Joe for shutting down there. Maybe Joe check raises, thinks his opponent is on hearts, and then the heart comes.
Yeah.
And then you're going, well, now I really can't beat anything.
Button moves over here to seat 2. Again, we're playing 20, 40, no limit hold'em. Brown chips are $10 chips. Whites are hundreds.
We are live at the bike. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hanson. And this is Legends of Poker time. All the big games are here. It's Tuesday night, and yes, you are seeing a 20-40 blind game. Unrestricted buy-in game.
I want to put out a question to everyone that was watching the first day of the World Series of Poker. Supposedly our own Dr. Beebe was featured, and Lynette Chan. So I'm wondering if they got coverage. Because maybe just playing on the featured table doesn't necessarily mean that you would get on, Dave. I mean, I'm sure they have hundreds of hours of footage,
I'll put it this way. I watched about a half hour before I came into work.
Yeah.
Okay? I was able to watch about a half hour. It was Phil Hellmuth, by the way.
Which I find entertaining.
It was fine, but I mean, the final that featured table, though, I honestly could not. I wouldn't be able to tell you one of the guys on the table besides Phil. I don't remember anybody else except Randy Jensen because I know him.
Now look at this. James has moved in, and Jeff is going to call with Ace 4 for 180. Remember, he's only in the blind for $20. Ace 6 7 on the flop, turns a 5, and the river's a deuce, and Jeff is going to win it.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't a tournament. I pointed out on Sunday how if you have a lot of chips, you can pretty much call with any ace getting 2-1, Dave, because you're never going to be more than a 2-1 dog.
Right.
But he's only in there for $20 in the blind.
Yeah,
the guy's moved in for 180.
Well, the funny thing is that James started this kind of short, But he wasn't that short. He had $800.
Yeah.
And when you're playing successful short stack theory, the last thing you want to do when you are short stacked is call off 100 here, 100 here, 100 here, 200 there. You really want to wait for one big hand and then push it.
Those big gray chips that we just zoomed in on are $1,000 chips. There you go.
Hey, he's got some money there.
Yeah. Sometimes you see a big purplish chip, which is a $5,000 chip.
I mean, he's got 6,000 just in thousands.
Yeah. Button moves over here to seat 3.
And he's got a cool Cuban cigar.
I can't wait to get out there and play after the show, Dave.
Yeah, I'm actually going to play a little. Did you play during the day?
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's funny. Now I'm really getting into recycling myself, where if I get into that main game and it's bad, I will get out. Wait a half. I actually went and got a haircut. I played a little 2040 Omaha, which was going.
I think you have to. I think, you know what? I mean, it costs too much money to be in a bad game.
Absolutely.
It's just not worth your time.
It's funny. Dr. Dennis, who's been on the show before, gave me a little bit of shit, and I'll get to it in a second. We had a $200 raise here on the button.
Wow, we're going 3 ways. Your pot is now $640.
Gary
$660,
with
sorry.
Deuce 3 of clubs. Alan with Ace 8. Jeff raised it with Ace 7. Well, Gary's got a piece of it. Is he going to continue on with bottom pair worst kicker?
Not really the flop you're looking for to hit with Deuce 3, is it?
He bets 400, Jeff does. And look at this. Gary calls.
Well, if you're going to play it this way, let me ask you this. If a blank comes off on a turn, and what I mean is a black card under, say, 8,
would you lead into the turn?
I think you have to. I think you have to lead into the turn with Deuce 3.
Well, the turn's 10, and it's a third
and it's a diamond. See, that's a scary card there with Deuce 3. I might just check and fold. But you understand what I'm saying, though. If it was a card lower, and he's going to lead in anyway.
He's going to lead in anyways. Now, the problem here, though, is that if a guy does have a high diamond, he might call.
Well, he'll just call.
Yeah.
He could raise you also, and you have no idea where you're at with Deuce 3. Now, in this case, obviously, it's going to work, and Gary's going to take this hand down.
I can tell you that the more and more I watch this, though, and the more if a guy is tournament style, he would not bet the flush. He would check raise. So when a guy like that bets out, I definitely don't think he has a flush.
Well, it's
you
more-
and I would bet a flush.
It's more likely that he has, say, King Jack
Right.
without a diamond in his hand. He doesn't
Right.
want to give the free card off, which is okay as well.
Right.
But
what was I saying there before? Because I was going to get to something. Oh, Dr. Dennis was giving me a little shit saying, you call yourself a pro? Why don't you just sit and grind it out? And I'm like, oh, because game selection has nothing to do with making money in poker, right? I don't think he got it 100%. No, I'm not going to sit in a bad game and try to outplay good players and try to make money in a bad game when there are other games that are much better. I mean, that was always the biggest reason why we both hated to prop.
Right.
As
I
we
mean,
really
well-
played more and more no limit.
I mean, it's a fine line because, I mean, I want to better myself as a player. I do want to become a better player, and the only way I become a better player is if we're going to get it chopped up here.
Yep.
Is if you constantly push yourself and you play against better players.
Right.
And I know that. I mean, if I'm playing in a game where people are constantly just giving me money and it's not, I don't have to work for it at all, obviously I don't have to get better.
Right.
But having said that, I am here to make money. And I'm not going to sit down in a game with Phil Ivey, Barry Greenstein, Daniel Negreanu, Doyle Brunson, and Jennifer Harmon and play No Limit Hold'em if I want to make money. Now, I might sit down in that game and learn something.
Right. But again, I don't think I'm necessarily learning anything from the players that play at our level here. And I don't say that in any
No,
conceited manner.
I think you're mistaken in that thing. I think you learn every single day you play poker. Whether you're playing bad players or good players, I really think that you are learning every single day you play. We're going to get a raise here out of seat number 2, Danny. And he's going to make it $160, 4 times the big blind. Now, James had rebought, and he rebought proper here. He kind of pissed away that $800, and he's rebought for about $2,200,
Yeah.
I want to say.
Button moves over here to seat 7.
But having said that, I mean, I think there's a fine line. I mean, I think you really want to keep improving your play. I don't want to avoid games that are always somewhat good because there are a couple of really good players in the game. But at the same time, I'm here to make money, and you are as well.
Well, the other thing, too, is that, and this might be the last time I say it, is I think they really have a good situation here at the bike. I don't even know if it's supposed to be this way, but you can leave the game for half an hour and get your name back on the board. Other places, it's usually an hour. But I really am very reluctant to advertise that to players at the table. You know, they'll just see me come back in a must move. Because, I might get here at 2 o'clock being the must moves, they're good. Once I get into the main game, it's horrible. So I get out and then recycle myself so when people are busting out of the tournament, we're back in that game again.
Right.
Tell
Dr. Dennis next time that if he really wants you to stick around in the game, that he should maybe play more than just the nuts.
Right.
9-6-3
here with a couple diamonds.
And once again, I don't mind playing Dr. Dennis. I'd love to play against him 4 or 5 handed.
Right.
But in a full ring game, it can get frustrating sometimes because he just doesn't give any action. I mean, he'll never win any money off of me, but at the same time, it's hard to get any money out of his
now Alan's
tight little ass.
Alan is going to bet here an open-ended straight draw, and James calls with deuce 4. Here we go to the river. And is Alan going to... Well, James does not improve. Is Alan going to bluff at it here?
Wow, and Alan not going to use that ace there. Man, I can't believe it. Alan could have used the ace there, could have represented like he was going for the nut flush draw, nut diamond draw, that is, and used the ace. I don't think James would have been able to call there.
Maybe he bet on a spade draw coming out on the turn as well.
Who knows, exactly. A lot of hands he could have had there.
Yeah.
Obviously, real tough to call with bottom pair. So, I didn't want to harp on this at all, but what the hell happened to your Red Sox?
Oh, it's miserable, huh?
Oh, my God, that is sick. I mean, did you throw up? 5-game sweep? Are you kidding me?
Well, it's odd enough that there's a 5-game series in a regular season because it was a 4-game series. They only have a couple of 4-game series, but...
I mean, are you embarrassed?
It was also a makeup, so...
I mean, are you somewhat embarrassed? I mean, the Yankees
Football season's coming around.
The Yankees came into your home, and they beat you in every aspect of the game. Hitting, pitching, fielding. I mean, it was disgraceful. The Red Sox now 6.5 out of the American League East. I think they're 4 games out of the wild card spot. They're pretty much dead. It's actually pretty pathetic.
How are the Jets going to do this year?
First place, baby.
$180 raise here by
First place,
Lawrence.
baby.
Queen 9 suited. James is going to call.
I think the Jets are tied for first right now.
Preseason. That's good.
They just beat the Redskins.
Allen calls. Now, again, that's a part of Allen's game that has not improved. He really likes those weak aces. And we're going to see 4-way action here. It's about a $750 pot. Lawrence, the pre-flop raiser with Queen 9. Ace-9-5. Well, Allen's got the best hand. Now, how do you play it here out of position?
Now, real interesting hand for James, though. James has got a gut shot with the flush draw. I like James' hand a lot. He can catch an 8 or a heart here and to win this. Now, the best card, obviously, is the 8.
And he's going to push it.
Wow.
Now, that's not... Well, I mean, he does have a lot. I don't think it's that... I mean, the pot is 1,000. He's making it another... I mean, he calls it 300, so he's making it another 1,500. $1,300 pot and a $1,500 raise.
Yeah.
I mean, that might seem a little bit big, but if you actually look at it,
Yeah.
it might not be. And it
Nice
gets Allen-
semi-bluff.
Yeah, it gets Allen out of there.
Nice semi-bluff. He takes it down. Get a peek at what the turn in the river would have brought.
But the more and more I watch people who are tournament-type players, who we get to see this month, the check raise all in with an overbet against a preflop raise or heads up is usually very indicative of a flush draw or some sort of draw.
Generally
like,
speaking-
the pot's $80 and the
Right.
guy moves in for $600 after your $100 bet.
Well, it's one of those things where it's clear your opponent does not want to see the next card.
Right.
You know what I mean? If somebody had, if they flopped the top set, or if they flopped the full house, would they play it that hard? No, they probably want you to call, which is sometimes why we say, actually, sometimes the best thing to do is actually play your good hands really, really strong and deceptively.
Yeah, Kevin Math brought up a good point. Philly Al won the Stud High tournament over the weekend.
He did.
Yeah,
It was great. Actually,
did
Friday
not chop
night.
it. Did not chop it. So that's
Friday
another-
night, it was kind of cool. Like I said, I was playing shorthanded with Michael in seat 1. Mo was in the game. Alan was in the game. And Barry Woods. 5 of us were playing. And we were all kind of sweating Philly Al as he just climbed the ladder and won the whole thing. Really impressive. And we're going to get a raise here.
Seat
Wow.
5 raised it with Ace Queen. It's not up there, and Lawrence is going to re-raise here with Pocket Jacks.
Yep. We got about $160 raise with Ace Queen.
Yep, and
And the
Lawrence,
Jacks are re-raising it. And I got to tell you, my Ace Queen hits the muck faster.
and it's just a mini re-raise, but I don't think Lawrence has that much money.
Well, it's more than that. 600.
Oh, excuse me, you're right, because those are 200 stacks.
Yeah.
And he does call, but again, I don't think Lawrence has any money left, though.
Wow.
That's amazing that you call that raise when the guy that your opponent has no money left.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. I got to tell you, it's one thing to push with Ace Queen. I don't want to call off raises with Ace Queen. And I'm assuming you're going to see all the cards now. I mean, what does he have left?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how...
I mean, I got to tell you, if I'm going to call the $600 pre-flop, I'm certainly going to move all in.
He's betting 200. It's a $1,400 pot, 200 to call. He's getting 7 to 1. He has to call here, right?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what Joe out of Philly here, is doing.
And he folds it getting 7 to 1.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense
Wow.
to me. First of all, I wouldn't call in the first place. I'd probably just throw my ace queen away.
Yep.
But if I decide that my opponent is weak, I got to tell you, I'm going to move all in or call and then bet the $200. I'm certainly not going to check fold.
Again, you can email us at live@thebike.com. Questions, comments, suggestions.
See the lovely Ronnie in the booth here.
I got to tell you, I was playing in the tournament for a while with
With
Ron Rose.
Ron Rose.
Yeah. And he's been on the show before, and I think he thought I was like a bit of a donk because I was playing it relatively aggressively. But I actually told him, "Who do you think you're talking to?" I said that to him, and then he realized it was me. So then he got because he was
Had a little more respect.
Yeah.
They were actually making fun of me at my table as well. So a couple of guys said they thought I played more hands than the other 8 players at the table combined. But I was playing actually at a table. Remember, you know Patrick Poles?
I think yes, I do.
He won a bracelet last year at the World Series for Omaha, and he won a bracelet this year for Stud High Low. Very good player. Has 2 World Series of Poker bracelets. He's actually going to come on the show, and we were kind of talking about it. And I have a lot of respect for his game, and I think he has respect for my game as well. We were talking about it. Really nice guy.
Well, it's linked around here, and again, Jeff is raising with very difficult hand to play out of position. He only makes it 200 more with King 10 of Hearts, and Michael here is going to call on the button with 8-4 clubs. You know what? And why not? Because Michael and Jeff are super deep here.
I got to tell you got to like this game right now. You really do.
Yeah. I mean, that is the type of hand that you can call with out of position. Look at this. Jeff's got bottom 2, and Michael has a flush draw.
Now, I got to tell you, I'm going to really push here with bottom 2, but you got to be aware that that is not a safe board at all. Your opponent could easily have a higher 2 pair than you. Your opponent could have Queen Jack. Obviously, your opponent could have clubs. I mean, if a Jack or a Queen were to come off, you have no idea where you're at.
Well, he bet 600 here, and Michael is going to call. Now, if I'm going to call here with 8-4 clubs, I am definitely going to represent if a Jack or a Queen comes that I have a Broadway straight.
Well, if he checks to me, I'm going to definitely, see what I can use.
This pot is quickly over $2,000. Here we go to the turn.
Oh, wow. What
Oh.
a terrible card for
It's
Jeff.
an awful card for Jeff.
His 2 pair is pretty much garbage now. Now all he has is a bluff catch. Remember, he can't even beat a real king now. He can't beat king queen now. He can't beat king jack. And he certainly can't beat an ace, obviously. All he can beat now is a flush draw. And if your opponent had, say, queen high flush draw or jack high flush draw, well, then your opponent's got a lot of outs.
Now, the problem, though, here for Michael is if this guy checks on the ace, does that smell fishy? Do you have a sickening feeling that you might be drawing dead here? And it goes check, check, and the river's an 8. And now he checks again, and now are you going to try to bluff at it? You can't think that your pair of 8s is good here at a showdown.
I got to tell you that now it's difficult to bluff at it, though. You got to start looking at the way this hand was played out. Can you bluff at it? It's more like a value bet here, and I think Jeff might call this.
Well, it's a $2,000 pot, and he's going to bet
Wow, he's put a nice bet in there, $1,300.
$1,400. Now, sometimes that might smell to somebody that that's too big for a value bet, but I make that bet as a value bet.
That's not a bet. That's a real strong bet by Michael. I think he realizes that Jeff is checking it down, that Jeff's probably got a king here.
Well,
maybe he's got a
he
weak
thinks
ace.
He's got pocket queens or pocket jacks.
He could also go weak ace. He could have ace 4, ace 5. I mean, you can't beat that
Wow,
either.
and Jeff is going to call. He said, I hope you're on a flush draw, and he's right, and he's going to take down about a $5,000 pot there.
Well, that's the problem with Michael taking the free card in the turn. And obviously, the ace is scary. It's always scary. It's hard. It's a lot easier for us to say bet it. But if you don't bet the ace there, it just smells like a flush draw.
Yep.
You put enough doubt in your opponent's mind that they end up calling you.
Button moves over here to seat 2. Big blind here in seat 4.
So apparently, I guess your shares, though, because Filial won that stud tournament, your corporation shares went up probably $300 or $400, right?
Each.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Each. Yeah.
It's nice.
My net worth went up for about $1,000 or so, $1,100.
Right, exactly. That's what I meant.
That was
Todd
nice.
with ace jack here of suited in the big blind. That's nice. So now you're probably only down a couple $100, right? Maybe 1,000 total.
1,000, probably something like that. Yeah. But again, he's going in for the rest of the events, the rest of the. It is funny though that you notice that there are some players that really thrive on the tournaments that are 500 buy-in and under, and never really have a big score in bigger tournaments.
Yeah, you really wonder. Well, Hold'em is tough. I mean, we talk about stud or stud high low or Omaha. I think the disparity between the bad players and the good players is just a lot bigger in those games than in Hold'em.
Four-way action here. I believe that it was limped around, and Jeff has flopped the nuts here. He's flopped the nuts in the small blind, a king high flush. Now Todd has got bottom 2 here, so he could fill up.
Oh, and this is one of those reasons why if you're Jeff, you bet it right away and you put some heat right away on your opponent. He'll never believe you.
Well,
if you bet.
Now Todd checked ace jack, really, and now Lawrence bets with a weak ace and a call here. Now Todd is Todd thinking that he's going to check raise here with ace jack, or is he going to play it a little bit conservatively?
And you see
I
how
don't
Jeff
mind just the check call here and maybe see what happens.
You're talking about Todd.
Yeah, with Todd. Yeah.
You might want to see a safe card. You got to obviously be aware. He's going to put a little heat on it right away, though. He makes 400, 300 more to go. That's going to get Lawrence out. And I got to tell you, if you're Jeff, I got to tell you, I raise right away. I hope this guy's flopped 2 pair.
How about you flop the smaller flush?
Either way, I just don't want a card to come up that kills my action.
Flop the straight or smaller flush.
I mean, if this guy's got ace queen or ace jack, if a king or a 10 were to come off or a diamond comes off, your action is dead. You got to realize you're out of position. If you just smooth call, it kind of smells like something big, doesn't it? I got to tell you, and we saw Todd earlier. Todd had trouble laying down. Remember, he made a call with ace 8 earlier.
And he's just going to call, and you wonder if Todd might take a card here on the turn, because this really smells fishy to me. The turn is a deuce. I don't know if I put more money in here.
That's a safe card. Jeff is going to check it.
I mean, do you think this guy is just calling with a dry king here?
You might. What you might do here is actually, it's not dry. Remember, the king of diamonds is a big card because a 10 would give you a straight also. You might bet here one more time and not put another chip in there. If this guy puts any heat on it at all, you're out.
I don't know.
Remember, do you want to give him a free card if he has just a king of diamonds?
No, I understand that, but I might take the risk and maybe just get rid of it if another diamond comes or a Broadway card, and not trap myself.
Okay, but what do you do if you check this and now the guy bets 1,000 on the river? Well, now you've induced that bluff. Are you going to call 1,000?
$500 bet here. If I check the turn, I would certainly call the river, probably.
That's the whole problem. So now you put yourself in a spot.
And then you just check calls again.
And I got to tell you, now I'm done with it.
Wow.
This guy puts a penny in the pot. I'm done with it.
He never made any move. The river's a 4. Is he going to bet the river now? Check, call, check, call.
Pot is over $2,000 right now.
And he checked it again. Unbelievable. How slow can you go?
Yeah, and
My
I got to tell you,
goodness.
Jeff really, and who knows how committed Todd would have been, but Todd doesn't have that much money left.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, if Jeff plays that hand harder, I really think he gets all of Jeff's money.
Without a doubt. The guy
All
only
Todd's
has
money.
another $1,200 left.
Yeah, but you understand what I'm saying there. You really put yourself in a tough spot. If you check the turn, right? Well, now the river, the pot is $1,200. Now the guy comes out and bets $1,200. Well, you induce that bluff, theoretically, and now you've got to call that $1,200 bet. While what you can do, though, on the turn is you name your own price, though. You bet $500, and you get the showdown from $500.
I
You see
understand what
I mean?
you're saying, but I got to tell you, I think sometimes you overrate the fact that by checking the turn, you're inducing a bluff, because I don't think people are all that aggressive. I don't think that he's going to throw a $1,000 bet off on a missed bluff, or on a hand that's marginal, he might just check it down with you. And I
Maybe.
think you're always thinking, well,
Right.
you've induced a bluff by checking the turn. Not always. We see people check the nuts on the turn all the time. Or check
No, I know that, but my only question is, let's say the guy did have a naked king of diamonds, right? So he had a straight draw and a flush draw. If he missed on the river, what's to stop him from trying to bluff it?
Now, seat number 2 here is raised with ace-queen, and Michael is called with the dominated ace here from up front.
Obviously, two different ways to play a hand, always.
7-5-4 here with a couple hearts.
Danny's still in the lead here with ace high, ace queen.
And it goes check, check. Danny does not bet heads up, turns a queen, and now he's got it.
Yeah, Michael's drawing dead.
Michael checks again. Wow, and Danny checks again as well.
And I got to tell you, on this river, I think you've got to bet.
River's a 9.
You bet for value here, and he is going to bet for value.
Problem here for Michael is he can't beat ace-king or,
No, he
obviously,
can't
or
bet anything at
ace-jack.
all. And the only problem, obviously, by waiting, I got to tell you, I'm betting the turn there. You're hoping your opponent has something like an 8 or a 6 or maybe hearts or something like that, where he has to actually call.
Brown chips are $10 chips, whites are hundreds, big grays are thousands.
Once again, the Legends of Poker tournament schedule. Today's tournament started at 4:15 p.m., and it was a no-limit hold'em, $1,000 entry. Now, tomorrow's tournament will also be 4:15 p.m., and that's another $1,000 limit hold'em event. And then on Wednesday and Thursday, we are going to have kind of like satellite days.
Well, Lawrence has got
Actually,
ace,
I'm sorry, Thursday's the Mariani Bus charity event.
as well as that media event that we're going to play in at noon. Dave, we're actually streaming on Thursday night the final table of the media event and the Legends.
Oh, I better be in that damn thing this year.
All the former Legends champions are playing in it, as well as media. So we should see some big names at the end.
Okay. That's
Doesn't
kinda
look like Lawrence raised it with ace-king here from up front. 9-3 deuce with a couple clubs. Michael's got a flush draw here with jack-8 of clubs.
cool. Yep.
And it
And
gets
he-
checked around.
And Lawrence now has the ace high. He's now got the ace king. Hits it.
And it gets checked around again. And the river is a club, and Michael makes the flush.
I say we see some really peculiar play here, haven't we?
Well, now Lawrence is going to come out and bet. Michael never made the semi-bluff. Now, I assume that Michael is going to raise here. He's going to, make a mini raise here. And I think it's a pretty safe raise because Lawrence doesn't have that much money either.
No, and it's a pretty easy laydown if you're Lawrence, isn't it?
I mean, would this guy really raise with anything less than 2 pair here on the river?
Well, I mean, I think it screams like he's made 2 pair or a flush, but it's probably a flush.
And Lawrence makes the call, and the flush is good there.
Wow.
Michael played a little conservatively, one off the button, never bet the clubs on the flop or on the turn.
Yeah, well, maybe he bets the turn if it doesn't come up with an ace. When he sees the ace out there, he kind of just figures, you know what?
I'll
I'm
just
in
take
trouble.
the card.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. Apparently, Kenna has made it to eBay. He auctioned off a cowboy hat, one of his cowboy hats, on eBay to benefit, I want to say, what was the girl's name that Gavin Smith is trying to help out?
Peyton.
Peyton, right.
Gavin Smith's charity site is forpeyton.com.
Right.
Those guys are going to be rolling through here either this week or next week, those guys from the circuit.
Yeah, I believe the circuit gets here August 26th.
Kenna James is actually
Playing
he
tournament,
said he
right?
was still in the tournament, but he was playing in a cash game. He said that they were on break, and he was kind of taking a little break from the tournament, playing in a cash game.
Hey, there you go.
Got a raise here by Joe to 100 with ace-5 offsuit. And Alan's got jack-10 of hearts. He calls. And we're heads up, ace-5 against jack-10 of hearts.
Well, there's a 10.
Alan's not going anywhere, I'm sure. 10 deuce deuce.
This is one of those flops that I got to tell you, I love the check call, lead right into on the turn.
Well, now he picked up hearts.
And Joe's got a 5 here. Now Joe's really in bad shape. Joe needs a 5 or an ace, and the ace cannot be a heart.
Alan bets 300, and Joe calls. This spot is quickly over $1,000.
Well played so far by Alan. I really like it.
And he makes a backdoor flush here.
And I think you bet nice pot. I think maybe you bet.
It's about $1,200 pot here, Dave.
Yeah, why not bet $1,000? $800, $1,000, right? Make it look like you don't necessarily. Make it look like you don't necessarily want to call.
You
might get the call.
800 here. And here's the problem. We always talk about this river bet. Would Alan really bet just a 10 here? Because wouldn't he be scared that Joe had an overpair if he smooth called the turn?
Of course.
Is Alan just making a bluff at it? Does he have a deuce? Does he have a made hand? He probably doesn't just have a 10. That's the one thing that we can eliminate.
Right. Now you realize that when Alan called you on the flop, though, look at that board. It's 10 deuce deuce.
Yeah.
Man, there's no draw whatsoever. He called you with something. What do you think he called you with?
But again, I would raise my eyes and say, really, Alan, are you betting a 10?
No, that's what I'm saying. You might not think he's betting a 10. Maybe he backed into a set of 8s. He's got 8s full. Maybe he's got backed into hearts.
Maybe he had ace deuce.
Exactly.
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah.
Those are probably, if you start thinking of the 3 hands Alan probably has here, he probably either A, has nothing, but that doesn't really seem likely because you look at the texture of the board on the flop. He probably either has ace deuce, 8s full, or backed into a flush. And in this case, obviously, we see the flush because Alan's betting it.
Also could be pocket 5s.
Could theoretically, but Joe obviously has got a 5 in his hand.
That's true. And
difficult.
Alan probably would check raise, obviously, with pocket 5s on the turn. I think he would.
Yeah, he might have.
I don't know if he's up to that
But
level.
pocket 8s, he might have played the same way. Who knows? Yeah. And not going to get a call here, and Alan probably should not show. But he's going to.
Yeah, he does show.
Why let your opponent feel good about his move?
And also, these good players don't know Alan, so why doesn't Alan try to be secretive like he thinks he is anyways?
Right.
All secretive. Mysterious. The mysterious Alan.
Well, it just doesn't, I got to tell you, I don't want to give my opponents, remember, this game is so much about confidence. I don't want to give my opponents more confidence. I don't want to say, hey, man, nice play. You're playing good.
Yep.
I had you beat.
Button moves over here to seat 6. Looks like we're already done with just about the first hour of the show here. Danny's got ace-queen suited here. Seat 2. And he's going to raise it up. He's going to make it 160, which is just 4 times the blind. Again, not really that big of a raise in a cash game.
Well, actually, 160 is not bad in this game. 160?
I'm just saying
4 times?
Yeah, the funny thing is usually people play a little bit more shallow. They play shallower in this game than, say, in the 5-10 game.
Well, that's the whole point. Like in a 5-10 game, I might still have $4,000 behind.
You're not going to make it 40.
But in the 20-40 game, I'm not going to have, none of these guys have $12,000, $13,000 behind.
Right.
So they don't have 300 times the blind, which sometimes you do have in a 5-10 game.
Button moves here to
that would probably be my customary raise in this game would probably be $160. 170, somewhere there.
Here we go with the first chip count of the night. We've got 48,000 on the table. Well, Jeff's got 14 there. He's the one that's leading the table. Let's take a look at the differences here. Jeff is up a quick $4,000, even though he probably should have made more on that king high flop.
Yeah,
flush.
I gotta say
that. Joe, the big loser here so far.
Yeah, Joe and Todd both bringing up the rear. Gary up a quick 2,400. Now Alan's up 1,400 as well. We'll keep track of this throughout the evening.
Pocket queens over here for the small blind James. Limp. And James is back up to about $2,000 here, maybe a little over that. So, see what he does here with queens. And he's going to raise it up. It's like another 300 more.
And obviously, a lot of different ways. There are a lot of schools of thought of how to play queens out of the blinds. You got to realize that if Lawrence is deep enough and you're deep enough, now in this case, James is not that deep.
Well, this is the point that I was going to make to you. I don't really mind this raise size if a couple of certain things are happening on this table. And if Jeff calls, it is happening. If there are guys that are deep that are playing loose, if I have 2,000 and I can raise it to 300 with queens and they're going to call me with a hand, that means I'm making money every time I make that raise.
No, exactly. I like the play. You've got to realize, though, if James has 6, 7, 8,000 behind, well, then you've really got to be careful because you're giving away the strength of your hand. And look at Jeff. He flops the friggin' nuts again.
King high. How slow can he play it again this time? Now, remember, last time he made the minimum. This time he's actually going to bet.
And
Now, by betting here, I don't know if James is going to go anywhere.
wow, Lawrence isn't going anywhere because he's open-ended.
Wow, open-ended with the 3 flush. He's drawing dead.
And James here with the Queen of Hearts, he has the second nut draw. And I remember, obviously, Deuce 3 of Hearts can win. But nobody's got Deuce 3 of Hearts.
But the point I was making is, if I had James stack and I make it 300, it's a fine raise because anything I get called by, I know that they're not really going to make the same amount, especially against me as a
Of
good
course
player.
not.
If I'm saying
No, definitely not. You got to realize, even if they get my whole stack, they're only making 6-1 on my money.
right.
On my $300 raise, I don't mind that. But if
And-
you have $7,000 or $8,000 behind,
Look at the difference here. By Jeff betting here, James thinks that he's drawing live, but he really isn't. Turn is another ace here, and that does it. It's over. Everyone's drawing dead. Oh, excuse me, James could hit a queen here on the river.
right, or an ace.
And Jeff is going to continue to bet. He bets 1,200, and I still don't know if James is going anywhere. Less likely a guy has an ace.
Yeah.
You still might have the best hand here with queens. Plus, you have a flush draw against a
Yeah,
smaller
and look
flop
at James. He's
flush.
scratching his head. He's trying to figure it out here. Would this guy bet an ace, and would he bet trip aces this strongly? Trying to figure it out. Jeff is way in the lead here. James is going to need an ace or a queen if he makes his call. Now, that's my only caution was pretty much if you start getting $8, $9, $10, $12,000 deep, when you make that $300 raise out of the blind with queens,
Oh, absolutely.
you give away so much information that if I've got you covered, I'm going to be calling you with 6, 7, 4, 5, especially if I know you have trouble getting away from overpairs.
But again, though, with his stack size,
No,
it's
no,
a fine raise if you've got people who are deep and who are loose.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. 100%. With $2,000, it's a no-brainer. And he is going to call this, and he is in really bad shape here. He
This
needs
pot,
a queen or
this
an
pot
ace.
is about $4,000 as we head to the river. And the river's a 9.
Not going to help him, and Jeff is going to win this one.
He checks. And again, the only thing that James is going to be able to beat here is just the king of hearts.
And you know what? Jeff is going to pretty much move. He's going to push in enough chips that's going to cost James the rest of his stack.
Yeah, and I don't know if James can get away from it because it looks like James only might have about 1,000. The pot might be laying him 5-1 here.
And I'm trying to think what he's got. It looks like 1,200 he's got left.
Yeah, Jeff bets 2,000. He's going to bet James all in here.
So the pot is now. Let's say he bets 1,200 because that's all James
Probably
has.
about a $4,700 pot, 1,200 to call.
Okay, so we're getting 4-1 on your money.
Yep.
What could this guy have? Let's think of some hands.
Could have flopped the flush. He could just be the only thing I think.
Could he have 4-5? Could he have bottom 2 pair?
That got
Realizing
counterfeited?
the ace killed him, he tried to bet it, and now he realizes, shit, this guy's got kings or queens. I've got to try to get him off it. Could he have the king of hearts only? I mean, I'm trying to think of hands that you can beat. Obviously, you can't beat an ace,
You can't beat a flop flush.
which is pretty much he either has an ace or a flop flush, right? Or he's got nothing. He's got like 4 or 5.
And James is going to make the call. And I got to tell you, we really ripped Jeff the way that he played his king high diamond flush. By him playing it hard, he gets the money, which is usually the case if you play your hand hard.
And you know what? If he had played the last hand hard, he probably would have got Todd's money.
Right.
This game, he plays it perfectly, and James goes broke.
Sounds like Corporation Mike is in the background.
Yeah, and he's actually first on the board. He is going to be first up in there. And it looks like James is done. And if James is done,
Now, did Alan say he was going to give his seat up to Mike? No. Now, if James is done, Mike can come right into that seat.
we'll get a peek at it.
I'd love to have Mike come and bang heads with seat 3 over there.
Hey, it'll be interesting. We got a lot of money on the table. Remember, we have over 50,000 on the table already.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get bigger.
And I think Mike can come into the game here. Here we go. He's going to buy in for 5,000, so this is going to get fun, Dave.
Kind of a short buy for him.
Yeah.
5,000 for a
Yeah.
2040 game. And we've got a collection pot there.
And again, I don't think there are a lot of people know Mike unless they watch the show. I mean, Mike has become a little bit of an underground legend in terms of people that watch the show. People have heard of him.
I got to tell you, the thing that's insane to me that I just don't understand, how can you come to the bike and play on the show and not watch the show?
Yeah.
Do you not like money? I mean,
You're lucky, man. That's bad position.
I think if you play poker at all and you don't watch this show, you're crazy. I mean, I think this is easily, not to tout us, because like I said, even if you don't like us, you can turn us off and just watch the show. And I still think that Live at the Bike is the best learning tool out there for poker.
Joe has raised it to 240 here with Ace King of Hearts. We've got pocket jacks for seat 1, Michael here. Alan is going to call with 8-9 of clubs.
But I got to tell you, if you're going to actually come to the bike and play against the players, don't you want to get some information on them?
Now, Michael, I was going to wonder, is Michael just going to call? Because a lot of times I'll just call him the spot. He is going to re-raise. Well, the reason why is because I don't think Joe or Alan has that much. And if Alan just calls, probably Jacks beats him.
Well, that might be it. I mean, one of those things is when your opponents aren't that deep.
Right.
Basically, what you're doing by re-raising with Jacks is you're saying, I will call your all in if you move all in. And
Now, wait a minute, but does Joe... No, Joe has a $5,000 chip there. And you wonder if Michael noticed that.
He might not have seen that.
Yeah.
He might not have seen that.
Because I don't know if Michael would have played it that way if he realized that guy was that deep.
You wonder. But Joe is going to call this, I believe.
How much more was it? 600? All right, so 600 more. He calls, and this pot is quickly about $1,800 here. Jack's out of position against Ace King of Hearts.
Todd is not in the hand. We're heads up here.
9-8 deuce here. Well,
Jack's way ahead. Terrible flop for Ace King of Hearts.
now again though, remember, and it goes check, check. The turn is a queen. So Michael did not put a bet out. Again, Joe could easily have smooth call with aces, kings, or queens.
Well,
here.
Michael trying to keep this pot as small as possible.
Check,
and he
check
is doing
again,
it.
and the river is a 4.
And I got to tell you, would you bet it on the river for value, or might you just be content in checking this down? And Joe is not going to bet it at all. And Michael's going to win it. And once Michael got called there, you saw how Michael was uncomfortable playing a big, big pot with pocket jacks out of position.
I'd like to ask him after the show, again, if he knew that Joe had 5,000 there. Because he definitely didn't look like he did not want to play that pot in that manner. Because he really shut down when he got called by him.
Well, you got to realize, obviously. Trying to get word of what he said there. One of the things you got to realize, obviously, if you get a 600, if you raise with jacks and you get smooth called, man, I mean, that's the only hand you're hoping your opponent has is Ace King of Hearts, right? I mean, I just don't want. I mean, what are you going to do? Unless he's prepared to pretty much go, okay, 2,000 on the flop, and then if he gets raised all in, then what does he do? Really puts him in a tough spot.
So Mike is in the game here in seat 6, not his customary seat.
And that's obviously a big part of this game. A big part of this game is trying to, obviously manipulate pot size the way you want to, depending on how big your hand is. It's one of the great things. Rarely do you see, if you see a great poker player in the middle of a huge pot, usually they're turning over a set, a straight, or 2 pair, right? Rarely it's just 1 pair.
5-way action here, limped around. It's a $200 pot. Here we go to the flop. Queen, deuce, 3 with a couple of hearts. Well, Lawrence with king, queen has got the best hand. Now Mike is out-kicked. Well, I always talk about how sometimes Mike just has a knack to get himself out of these situations where he doesn't flop a hand with his domination. He is dominated here, and Lawrence is going to raise him right away. $130 bet, and Lawrence makes it 400 more here.
Now, more importantly, these guys might not be familiar with Mike, but Mike is not familiar with any of these guys. And you wonder if, obviously it's really easy for him to fold when Alan raises him.
Right.
But does he know what kind of player Lawrence is? Could Lawrence be raising on the come?
And Mike is going to call.
Pot's quickly $1,000,
Yep.
right?
Here we go to the turn. Turn's a 4, and now I think that's going to make Mike continue to stay in there because he's picked up a straight draw.
Yep, he can catch a 5 or 6 to win this.
Lawrence bets again here.
And I got to tell you, Lawrence is probably going to bet this one and then probably shut down on the river. We see that more often than not if he gets called here.
He bets 600. Now, could Mike ever make a check raise here? Obviously, knowing he probably doesn't have the best hand, but does this guy want to get involved with king queen for all his chips?
You wonder. The problem is, I'm not sure if is Lawrence pot committed right now. Yeah. I want to say he's only got about maybe $1,200 left.
Well, it's a $1,600 pot. Yeah, you're right, Dave. There wouldn't be any full equity there.
Yeah, I mean that's probably why Mike's throwing it away. Mike took 1 off, throws it away. The river would have been a 9 of clubs.
Yeah.
Would not have helped him, and Lawrence would have won it. Once again, we're live at the bike. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen.
That's why I said over here. So every time he raises, I'm going to re-raise.
You are watching No Limit Hold'em. Blinds are 20 and 40 in this game, and we have well over 50K on the table.
Look at this. We're getting word here that James is the guy from the World Series of Poker main event where he flopped the flush against the loud Swede with the ace in his hand, pushes all in, and then jumps up and down celebrating before he notices that James has a flush. Then hits the flush on the turn, goes crazy, notices that James has a gut shot straight flush draw. Kevin Math says, yes, that's James Hopner. who also made the TV final table of the first WPT $25,000 championship. Interesting.
So once again, we are right on top of things.
Yeah.
How do we not know these things?
Well, I
Thank
mean,
you,
if
Captain
he's not going to necessarily volunteer the information, I'm not
No,
really.
of course.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have no idea. No, it's just funny.
Yeah. Well, looks like they're not going to chop it in the blinds, and Todd's got ace king in the big blind, and Jeff is going to raise.
No, the funny thing is there's so many people in poker out there that are like
Yeah.
somebody now. It's almost impossible to keep up with it.
So he raises to 80. Now, is there any value to re-raising here if you're Todd? This is blind versus blind play here,
I think there is actually. I mean, you have position.
and he is going to re-raise.
I think there clearly is. Now, if you're out of position with ace king, obviously that's a lot tougher to play that hand. But in
Yeah.
position, I say why not? Good chance this guy is raising with say ace jack or something like that, or maybe even pocket fives. I'm going to put some heat on him right away. Remember, he's out of position. He has no idea what I'm re-raising him with.
And Mike is going to straddle first one of the night. Let's see if that induces some other people to straddle here. So it's going to be $80 to go.
Yep. Remember, it's $20 in the small blind. That would be Todd.
Yeah.
$40 in the big blind. That's Joe. And $80 for Mike. He's the straddler. And he's got ace 10, which is usually a raising hand for him out of the straddle spot.
He's late. That's a straddle? Yes, sir.
I'm still looking for the day when we can get a Mississippi straddle going.
That's the extra one with the option?
No, actually, I'll explain it in a second.
Oh, that's the one on the button, right?
It's actually wherever you want it.
Oh. Well, and Mike did not raise out of the straddle. Jeff just called. Flop comes Jack 7 deuce. Mike's got the higher flush draw.
Well, and Jeff called that on the button with 9-5. Jeff really, really values that button. We saw him making a questionable call earlier on the button. Here he's just limping in on the button with 9-5.
And look at this. Mike bets 200, and Jeff is going to raise 300 more. And Mike calls. These guys are going for low flush draws. Turns a deuce. Mike is still in the lead with ace high. It's a $1,300
I mean, Jeff's in terrible shape here. Jeff needs a 9 or a 5, and the 5 can't be a spade.
Jeff is going to bet out again. He bets 1,000.
But what can Mike beat here?
Now, is what Mike might be thinking, this guy's betting so much that if I know if a spade comes, it will be good here? And is my ace good?
I don't know. I mean, the pot's already pretty big. $1,000 is just pretty much like pot size, isn't it? There was 100, and there was almost 200 in
No, it's a
pre-flop. Yeah.
$2,200 pawn, 1,000 for Mike to call.
I mean, remember he limped in. Couldn't Jeff play it sneaky? Would Jeff ever have limped in with kings or queens?
Mike is out of there.
And Jeff plays his button to perfection, takes it down. And we might see these guys go at it all night long. Yeah, Mississippi straddle actually is you can straddle in any spot on the table, but the way it is whoever straddles actually has to. The next person after the straddler is first to act, is under the gun. So theoretically, if the button were to straddle, then the player in the small blind would be first to act pre-flop. If the cutoff were to straddle, well, then the button would be first to act. Now, this is the only catch, though. The button can trump anybody else. Basically, the player in position can actually trump. So let's say I wanted to straddle in the cutoff seat, and the button said, no, I'm not going to act first. I'm going to straddle. They could do that, and that's what's called a Mississippi straddle. And is that gum?
Yeah, it is. You use a napkin to pick it up.
I'm not picking up your gum.
Michael has raised it with pocket queens here. 300.
I'm against that. The garbage can is what, like?
Yeah,
what,
just
like,
bounced off the stuff.
Literally
in the
what,
garbage
like
can.
8 inches from you, and you couldn't get it in there.
You know, you can do it. The other guy.
Michael takes it down. I'm going to step in this gum. Will you pick it up?
Button moves over here to seat 5. Always kind of thrilling things going on here live at the bike. It's amazing. Pocket jacks here for seat 2. He's played it pretty solidly.
Yeah,
pretty
Danny there?
Solid, yep.
Not 1-5. I went out, I flop a set, and I go out. I come in third. It's like sometimes it happens.
Now Michael has just limped in with ace queen off.
220.
And Danny's going to make it 220 to go here with a couple of jacks.
So did Philly Al give you a bad beat story? How he got knocked out at 4:25? The tournament started at 4:15, right?
Hey, man. I guess it's just his style.
Seriously, I mean, that's crazy. Can't fault him. He does have two. I mean, hey, he does have 2 Legends of Poker rings this year already, right?
Yeah. Now Michael is going to call out of position here with ace queen. again, really difficult to get involved here. 6, 8, 7 on the flop.
I got to tell you, the pairs have just been killing the overcards all day long. We've seen jacks against ace king, queens against ace king, jacks against ace queen this time.
Danny's going to bet.
350.
He bets 350 here.
Put a little bet in there. Find out where he's at the same time, put some pressure on overcards.
Again, this is not a guy that I think you're going to, I think this guy's coming in with a real hand from what we've seen so
Michael,
far.
definitely.
No, Danny.
Oh, Danny, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Michael just gets away from it.
Now,
shows the jack.
it was interesting, really. Michael played, when I played with Michael on Friday night, I was really impressed. I had raised with ace king. He had called me with 7-8. Flop came out king 7-8. And he checked to me. He checked to me. I bet now there are two of the same, two spades or something out there. I had the ace of spades as well. He check raised me, but check raised me huge.
Yeah.
And I really didn't think it was actually a great play because I thought this guy probably picked up a spade draw, maybe had a gut shot. And since I had the ace of spades in my hand, I made the call. And sure enough, he had flop bottom 2 pair, and I was like, wow, because he played it really
Did
strong.
all the money get in there on the turn or something?
No, on the flop, right on the flop.
Oh.
I mean, he wasn't that deep compared to me, and but yeah, it all went in there. We actually ran it 3 times, and I won once. And the surprising thing was he's a pretty solid player. Later on that night, I had ace-jack, flop trip aces. And he ended up doubling me up he had ace-7. And I was really surprised that he committed all his chips with just ace-7.
Limped around here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-way action. So it's a $280 pot. Jack 6-6 here. Anybody got a 6?
It's funny, Lawrence and Allen both have the diamond draws. Now, will they get involved, though, with a paired board out there?
Well, Danny's going to lead with ace-jack. That's the best hand here right now in seat 2.
The action is over to Lawrence here. He's got a diamond draw. He's going to call.
And that is really a dry diamond draw.
Now, Allen here, he's got kind of like backdoor straight draw possibilities, I guess.
He calls. You can see it. And now the turn's at 10. Allen picks up a pair.
Yeah. Allen can catch a lot of cards here. Allen can catch actually, the 8 is no good.
Now, here's the other issue. And look at this. The river is a diamond. What I was going to ask you.
Is Lawrence going to get in trouble?
Flush over flush here. What I was going to ask you is, if you're a Danny, would you bet that turn? Danny decided to check it, try to keep it a little bit small with the paired board out there.
Yeah, once again, I got to tell you, if there's no draw out there whatsoever, I probably bet it. If a guy raises me, I have no problem throwing it away, but I'd rather find out where I'm at.
But there was a draw.
Right, exactly, which is why I think you needed to bet it.
Now we got a bet out here by Lawrence, and Allen just calls, and Allen's going to win it here.
Yeah, and you can't blame Allen for just calling that, can you?
Well, the other thing, too, is that, it's funny. Well, the turn was a 10, but it wasn't a diamond. I can see what you're saying, obviously, that, you just find out and you just fold it to a check raise.
Well, that's the point.
What if the turn is another diamond? Do you bet one more time and take a showdown because a guy with a 6 might feel uncomfortable check raising, even if he has trip 6s with the third diamond out on the turn?
The only thing is, the flop like that, Jack 6-6 with a 10 there, if I have ace-jack and I have no redraw, now if I have some sort of a redraw, maybe I can take the card because maybe I don't want to get check raised off of my redraw, right? And I'm all for that. But in that case, I'd rather just get the information. If the guy has a 6, he's got a 6, I can't beat him anyway. I'd rather bet it and find out. If I get called in both spots again, well, then I know I'm dead. And then I can just easily fold the river anyway.
But again, you would be more apt if you had ace-jack with the ace of diamonds on a 3-flush board to check that turn.
Exactly. In that case, I might check the turn because I don't want to put a $400 bet in there, get check raised to $1,400, and never get to see the diamond on the river.
Todd is raced up here with 7-8 suited. Pocket 9s here. Joe is called. Mike is in there with king-jack. Pocket 3's over there for Lawrence. He makes the call. The raise was to 210.
4 players.
And we're going to see 4-way action here. So we've got an $850 pot here. Todd, the pre-flop raiser. Well, ace-5 deuce with a couple hearts. If Todd actually were to bet here, he would take it down, but he just shuts down.
Yeah, Joe's got the best hand here, but how does he know?
Well, he gets checked around.
Wow.
Turn is a 3, and
Well,
now Lawrence makes a set. It's a one-liner to a straight.
Hard to put anybody on a 4, obviously, but you never know.
Well, now Joe's going to bet 300. And again, it's so funny. Well, Mike is not going to get involved. Sometimes Mike just raises on the fact that he might think people are weak, and then Lawrence would have, had to make a decision, and now Lawrence is going to raise.
Yeah, Mike might lay low in a little in the beginning just to kind of figure out the table and see what's going on here. We got a post here from Kev Matt, though. He wants to... did he call? Sorry. Lawrence called.
No, just a raise.
Oh,
a
raise
raise
by
here by
Lawrence,
Lawrence,
here.
700.
Joe's not going to call, obviously. This is a pretty easy laydown, I think. Kev Math actually says here, it's worth noting that Jeff Hoppner has maybe been on Live at the Bike before, and I don't think he has. I mean, maybe you... Actually, Kev Math would probably know better than I do, but Jeff apparently said that he didn't even know the show existed. So... Oh, it's James Hoppner. Oh, the guy that was in Seat 8. Oh, thank you. Okay, that's where I got screwed up.
Oh, it's the Seat 8 guy that was
It was the Seat 8. That's
we
why
thought,
I
we
was
thought it
screwed
was
up.
Jeff in Seat 3.
I actually pointed out. I knew James
Yeah.
had been on the show once or twice before.
Okay. So it was the James in Seat 8 that was the guy.
There we go. I got confused. I thought it was Jeff Hoppler. Thank you. I appreciate it. I knew I got screwed up there. Thank you, Ronnie. I was wondering because Jeff in Seat 3. That's I thought we were talking about him.
How about this? An email here from Sconty88. He says, talking about how a lot of people are good unknown players, quote unquote. Seat 2 right now, Danny Wong chopped the recent $10,000 buy in Bellagio Cup when they were three-handed and got $700,000. There you go.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate the. One of the reasons I love our show being interactive. I love the fact that our viewers are helping us out. Obviously, it's almost impossible for us to keep up with all the happenings that are going on in poker. We try to. So much going on, though. It's almost like a new star is born every week.
Mike is going to raise it up here with Ace-5. Made it 200 here. Wow, and Jeff is going to get involved. Jeff's got Jack 10 offsuit.
You wonder if Jeff wants to play with Mike. I mean, it's almost like he's looking to play with this guy.
Well, he's flop bottom 2 here. How is he going to play it?
Now, Mike does not have a club in his hand, but he does have a gut shot, straight draw.
King Jack 10.
I think they can cash about 875.
Pot is about $400. Mike is going to bet, looks like 380.
360 for 2 spots.
And is Jeff going to check raise? Yep, he announces raise right away.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's not a board you really want to mess around with, I think. Now, obviously, if Mike just smooth calls you, though, really puts you in a tough spot, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think Mike probably would call with something like Ace-King there, but does not get involved.
He might have even called if he had Ace-5 with the Ace of Clubs. You know what I mean? Trying to be able to represent.
Turn was a jack, river was a jack. Jeff would have made quads.
That's it, huh? Wow. And Mike has stuck his neck out 3 times, and every single time he gets snapped back like a little turtle.
Straddle.
Man, we got a straddle here again.
Mike apparently, by the way, I got a text on Friday night at 2 a.m. from Mike saying, "Hey man, I just watched the show. What the hell are you and Bart doing, man? You guys are stupid." And I joked around with him afterwards. Yeah, Mike and I mean, I really
Was he honest though?
He just thought the first 30 minutes he wasn't quite sure what we were talking about, and he thought that Brent Carter guy. He goes, "What is he talking about? Who's he?"
Is that okay?
Well, Mike watches the show now.
Mike, obviously not a poker historian. Yeah, I mean, well, you got to improve your game. I think the only way to improve your game is to watch yourself and watch other players play, and you can constantly analyze the way they're playing. Now, did we get a raise here from Todd in first position?
No, we have a straddle here. Again, once Mike starts straddling, I think some of these other guys, Jeff is straddled. Now, Jeff's got King-Queen. Again, we talk about straddling in a full ring game. That might be a raising hand.
It might. Now, Todd is limped in first position with Ace-Jack suited. Danny is going to just call, and wow, we're going to see this 5 ways.
$400 pot, 5 times 4, 5 times 80.
Well, there's the king.
King 10-7. Well, Jeff's got the best of it right now with King-Queen. Todd's got a gut shot here with backdoor clubs.
400.
Jeff is going to bet the pot. He's going to come out and bet 400 right away.
Yeah, Jeff obviously not afraid to put his neck out there.
Again, for Todd here, he doesn't have enough. There's 3 people to act
he's got no money.
him.
He's got no money. It's an easy laydown. Once again, you're looking to hit something big. You're looking for, let's say the flop would come out King 10-7 with 2 clubs. Okay, I might push there with Ace-Jack clubs and then see what happens.
I believe that Joe there had Ace-10 of diamonds. Even if we had it up as Ace-9, but he didn't get involved.
No.
Just not going to get involved.
Well, you got to realize, obviously, Jeff is showing some strength there. He's betting into that many players.
Look at that. The queen comes right off on the turn. Ace-Jack would have made it. There is, if you're deeper, there definitely is a school of thought in your heads up and in position that you could definitely call with Ace-Jack one time there. Because you might get 2 cards for free.
If you are deeper, you 100% count.
Yeah.
Not even a question. But right now, Todd has only got maybe, I want to say maybe $1,300 or $1,400.
That's a good thing.
Pocket kings here for Danny Wong, right?
Yep, Danny boy.
Yep. So a cool $700,000 winner. Pocket nines over here for seat 8. And that is Gary. He moved over there. And Mike is going to open raise here to
$180.
180. Gary calls. Let's see what Danny Wong's going to do here out of the small blind. Now, he is deep. But again, he's not that deep. He's got about maybe 2,700. If he makes this...
No, he's got 5,000.
Oh, he's got 5,000. All right, well.
Problem is, the other players do not have him covered.
Yeah.
Now, this is one of those times where you can, a lot of different ways to play this hand. You can smooth call this.
Yeah.
Play it for a big pot and see if you can get really lucky, or you can put in a nice $1,000 re-raise, take it down, and if somebody does call you, well, neither one of those players has enough money to hurt you. Remember, even if Mike calls a $1,000 raise, even if he knows you have aces, he is not getting odds to call.
Well, that's the other thing that I was going to say. The only thing that Danny has to really worry about is Jeff in seat 3, because even though Danny had the 5,000 with Mike's chip stack, and I think with Gary's chip stack, he can raise it up another 800. And again, anytime anyone calls, he is winning money.
Right now, Gary actually has bought in for. I think Gary's got about $5,000.
But again, for him to call an additional 800.
Yeah, suddenly you've got to be looking at it going, well, if all goes well and I double up, I'm only getting like 6 or 7 to 1 of my money.
Now, you know Mike wants to play this hand, but I think he realizes that he really just is not deep enough. This is going to cost him about 25% of his stack here to make this call.
And if there's a weakness to Mike's game, and I like Mike's game probably a little bit better than you do, there's a weakness to his game is sometimes he just likes to gamble a little bit. He probably knows that he shouldn't call, but he calls. And
he's out of there.
Hey, give him credit, he throws it away.
And I actually disagree with you. I think I like Mike's game better than you do.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah. And Gary Folds.
I think he sucks.
Gary Folds.
I do. I think he's so overrated. It's ridiculous. His mom is an excellent player.
But moves over here to see.
I mean, I love playing with Mike. Love it.
Well, you just like you said, you like to play in games with Mike, not because of Mike, but of how it changes the other players, how they play in the game, right?
It becomes an action game.
Yeah.
You know, it just becomes an action game. There's no way the game can't be action with Mike in the game. Why would I not like that? Would I rather play with, if he's in the game, and there's a Dr. Beebe in the game, and Dr. Dennis in the game, and Kirk in the game, I mean, those guys, I'm not going to get any action from those guys. I like when he riles people up.
The answer is yes, you can.
Did you talk about the new feature about breaking the cards and how we're going to put them on display here?
Yeah, well, I'm going to wait for it to happen again, but apparently every time somebody rips up their cards in anger, we're going to get them to sign them. And we're going to put them like on a clothesline behind us.
Again, I thought you can't really rip them up, though.
You can't, but that's when you can rep them and everything, but then sign them. Alan actually ripped up his Jack 10 of clubs on Friday night after he was very disgusted with him, and I had him sign them. So it'll be like the wall of the card shame wall or something.
Limped around here. 9-4 deuce on the flop. Checked around turns a 9. It looks like Alan's ahead here with a pair of deuces, and he's going to bet 100.
Hey, nice bet here by Alan. He's in position. Why not? Take it away.
Yeah, he's going to take it down.
Take it down, Mr. Brown.
So it's an interesting game. Like I said, I'm really into what I call, anytime I mention this, what I'm saying is recycling myself. I'm talking about getting out of that main game during the day. I hopped right into a nice little 20-40 half kill.
Sounds so environmentally friendly.
Yeah, 20-40 half kill Omaha game to a 30-60. And I got to tell you, it's very, very rare to be in an Omaha game that's not good. Definitely been in my fair share of bad no-limit cash games. And sometimes even bad limit. I mean, we were in bad limit hold'em games all the time when we were props. But it's rare to have a bunch of people that know how to play Omaha well.
No, of course. I mean, the only reason you're not playing Omaha as much as you're playing No Limit is just there's more money to be made.
Yeah, right.
I mean, if you're doing really well, let's say you're playing a 40-80 Omaha game, and you're running really well, what can you expect to make an hour? 60?
Yeah, probably 60 to 80, because it is a split pot game.
Right, so maybe $60 an hour, $75 an hour.
Right.
While on a no-limit game, if you're playing a 10-20 no-limit game, you can make 140, 150, 200 an hour.
But I mean, just the 5-10 game itself,
you can make 125 an hour.
100, 125 an hour, yeah. It's definitely more profitable long term. We have a raise here by Jeff with 4-5 of clubs to 200 on the button. Mike with Queen 10 and Lawrence have call with pocket 10s. Well, there's the ultimate scare card. Now, Lawrence just played this for a limp and a call to the raise. Is he just going to check fold here? I mean, if you're going to play it as I limp in with pocket 10s from up front and I call the raise, I think I am just probably going to get rid of it, and he does. He shows the 10s.
Yeah, you're good.
And Jeff shows the bluff.
Now, Jeff is deep enough that, and a lot of the players at the table are deep enough that Jeff can really, He can see a lot of flops, and he likes to.
Yeah.
See his style already.
Post here by Crusader Rabbit. He says, "Hey Bart, did you ever talk with Gabe Thaler about being on the show? I've heard he's such a great cash game player, and you mentioned you used to play with him. And that was probably actually Dave. He's
Yeah.
got a better relationship. He is coming on the show, right?
Yeah, he will eventually. I've gotten the word from him now. Gabe has actually moved to. I used to play Pot Limit.
At Hollywood Park or something?
Pot Limit actually at Commerce
Oh, yeah.
with Gabe, and I would basically play in the game so I could watch him play.
Yeah.
I didn't really know how to play very well, but I would watch him and I would listen to him, and I would almost like a sponge.
Look at this. Alan's away from the table here. His cards are in the window. He's got pocket kings. And Brian folds them.
But anyway, I would literally be like a sponge and just sit there and watch
Yeah.
everything he did. He's a phenomenal cash game player and really a nice guy. He has moved, though, since moved to Vegas. He resides there and he plays the Bellagio on a regular basis.
Just the games there are a little bit bigger than at Commerce now.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. I think it's also tax purposes and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Real estate, stuff. I mean, things, there are a lot of reasons to move to Vegas.
Ace Queen 5 here, and Mike's flop bottom 2 here. And he checks it over to Jeff. Jeff is going to bet with absolutely nothing.
And I'm surprised Mike didn't bet right into Jeff. I mean, the way Mike has played it,
Mike makes a check raise, 200 more.
and Jeff's got nothing here, but you know what? Jeff might be game here.
And he is going to call. Here we go. $700 pot to the turn. Turns a 10. Well, Jeff can only hit a jack now to win.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be somewhat of a scary card if you're Mike.
Mike bets 700 now. Again, I don't know really what Jeff was called the flop. Is he trying to pick up a heart draw?
Yeah, I think he's trying to make a play at it. See if Mike can bet again into him, and if he can't, maybe Jeff will take it away. You see that Jeff loves to play a position.
I thought I had something different when I made the call last time.
What did he say? I thought he had a what?
You have not even a pair?
Yeah, he said I thought I had a pair when I called. Well, there you
Not
go.
open-ended.
Makes a lot more
Got
sense.
a one-end.
Well, he's going to throw it away. Anyway, back to Gabe Thaler. I bumped into him during Vegas, and we had a really nice talk, and we talked about it. And he has assured me that he will be on the show. He will come on the show. He may or may not play. Not a big fan of showing his hole cards. But he may or may not play, depending on the lineup.
Well, if we can just get him in the booth here. it would
But he'll
be
definitely come in the
incredible.
booth and talk for a little while. But I have the utmost respect for that guy.
Let's take a look at another chip count here. Look, we're about halfway through the show. 54,000 on the table. Jeff with 17,000, really covering the table. Mike only has 3,000. I'm wondering when he might rebuy here. Let's take a look at the differences from the beginning of the show. And I think Jeff is the big winner here. Yeah, he is. He's up 77,000. Gary's up 22. Michael in seat 1's up 21. And Mike is down a quick $2,000 here. Again, we're playing 20-40 no limit. Hold'em brown chips are 10s, whites are 100s.
Come on,
Looks
$2
like-
grand for Mike is like a piss in the ocean.
Where is it?
Looks like Mike here made a raise out of the
320.
small blind. And Gary's going to pull the limp re-raise. Actually, it was a straddle pot. Gary straddled it. Gary has raised out of the straddle. Mike completed with deuces, and Mike calls the raise. $700 to the flop. Well, there's the ace. Ace, king, 10. Horrible flop for Mike, obviously.
Can you get a worse flop for 2 red deuces? God.
Gary will bet. And unless Mike just wants to make a pure move. But remember, Mike is not deep.
He's going to make a move anyway.
Yep. Wow.
Raised to 50.
Well, you know what? He's thinking that maybe Gary raised it with queens or jacks.
Yeah.
Thinks maybe I can get this guy off it. You know, he doesn't realize that Gary's actually got ace-jack here, and I don't think Gary's going to go anywhere.
Well, the funny thing, though, is unless Mike has king 10 here, would he limp in with something like ace 10, ace king? We know he probably wouldn't. You might think ace jack is good anyways, and Mike's not that deep here.
Nah.
Mike raised it 1,000 more. Usually ace jack in this spot's a really tough spot. And Gary calls. Wow, and this spot is quickly 3,000. Mike should just shut down now. Turns a jack. Well, Gary's got 2 pair. It's still a bad card for him.
yeah, it really is.
All-in call.
Mike bets all in, and Gary calls, and Mike's
Mike
got
needs a
2
deuce.
outs.
He needs a black deuce to
Or a
hit the river.
queen to chop.
That would be
Could
sick.
catch a queen to chop. Mike was just making a move. Here we go to the river. And the river's a queen, and they chop it up. Oh, wow. Can you imagine how mad Mike would have been if that happened to him? Oh, man.
That's sick.
Straight
That is
on
absolutely
board.
sick.
Oh, man.
That is sickening.
I was wondering if Mike was going to make a play, but I got to think that Mike has to realize that he's not deep right now.
Yeah.
Maybe if he bought in from
Well,
more.
if the guy only had, say, 9s or 8s, though, obviously it's a pretty easy. If he has 9s or 8s, the problem is those. Even if the guy had queens or jacks, he might call with the gut shot. You never know. Some guys get stubborn with that kind of hand. was funny, actually. I saw Gabe Thaler, talking about him. I saw him playing. Now, the games at Bellagio were extremely big during the World Series of Poker. And I believe I saw Gabe playing in a, I want to say 100-200 blind, no limit hold game. Now, Gabe will also play 20-40. He'll play 25-50. He'll play 25-50 with a 25 ante. He'll pretty much play whatever game is good. And he is probably one of the best players that most people have never heard of. The funny thing is, like, if you saw Gabe Thaler at a poker table and Annie Duke at a poker table, to much of society, to much of people that don't know, they'd be like, oh, wow, that's Annie Duke. Oh, my God, she must be great. And honestly, Annie Duke, is as good as she is, she can't hold it. She couldn't hold Gabe's jockstrap.
I get 3 of them? 3 free ones.
No.
Alright, give him another free card.
Okay.
And Gabe does wear his jockstrap to the table, apparently.
100.
You know what?
2 player.
Now we got a bet here from Jet, actually from Todd, with top pair. And Gary took one off with the gut shot. Todd is going to shut down here, and Gary's never going to make a move at it. Gary just called it the gut shot there, and I got to tell you, if you're going to call it the gut shot, part of the reason calling it the gut shot is you're also calling there, figuring you represent something else. But he was just looking for a 4, I guess. Kind of an odd call. Sometimes people just get caught up with it. They go, well, it was only $100. Why not? But sometimes even if you hit, let's say the 4 diamonds were to come off, can you even play the hand aggressively there? I got to tell you, if I'm going for a gut shot, I want to make sure it's the absolute nuts. It's hard enough to hit as it is. Speaking of going for gut shots, actually, I got tangled up with a hand with Mo on Friday night. Mo actually doubled me up. I was on the button, and I had a gut shot, and I put a little bet out there. Mo called me with with a gut shot as well. Now, we both needed the same card, but he was drawing to the second nut straight, and I was drawing to the nut straight. Sure enough, on the turn, the magical 5 hit. And I had 8-6, Mo had 6-3. We both made our straight, and obviously I ended up doubling up through Mo. And it kind of always tells me, if you're going to go for those gut shots, they're hard enough to get as they are. Man, make sure you're going for the nuts.
Lawrence has raised it up here to 200 with Queen 7 of diamonds here on the button. Now, Danny's got Ace-10 offsuit. I really wouldn't be surprised if he just folds here. And he is going to fold.
Mike, you want to call 2?
Mike's got Queen 7. He has the same hand. Same hand against same hand here. Let's see who outplays who. Here we go to the flop. Well, both players have middle pair. Mike checks. Lawrence is going to bet. Looks like he's going to bet 700 here.
Now, I asked you a question a long time ago, and I'm going to ask you the same question. Now, this is a collection pot, which means $100 is pretty much going to come out of the pot. Now, is that enough money to lower the EV on some hands that maybe are slightly positive EV to suddenly become negative, like you wouldn't play them because I don't really need to win this pot?
Could be, definitely a consideration.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of times where it's like, maybe I'd call somebody. Let's say somebody raises an early position and I have 5-4 suited or 6-5 suited. Maybe I would call in other hands. But if it's a collection pot, I'm going, well, I understand if it's a big pot, I don't mind giving $100. I don't mind paying the collection, but do I really want to set myself up where it's a negative EV play?
Button moves over here to seat 8.
And I tell you, man, our screen has gone downhill.
Yeah, I don't know. Who changed the screensaver?
I changed it.
Why?
I don't know. I felt like it. But it used to be, it's kind of sad, it used to be like we had like porn on it. And then it went from like that to Liz Lou. And then we had our Live at the Bike logo. And now we've gone to, it's pretty sad, we have My Dogs on our screen.
And you couldn't even do it so that you could blow it up. You didn't know how to do it.
No, I tried to stretch it, but it became like distorted.
The technical genius, Dave Tuckman.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Ask me about poker, do not ask me to fix your computer.
And we got a raise here by seat 8, Gary. He's going to go raise it with pocket 5s to 300 here. Oh, Michael's going to call King Jack offsuit. Very, very difficult hand to play out of position.
Forget about the game.
Mike's going to call with 9-10. So here we go. Three-way action.
Michael in seat 1 hasn't played many hands.
Seat open on there?
We got a collection pot again here because that last pot was not $600.
10-5-6.
How about a set of fives here?
Yeah, set
Micah's-
of fives, and his corporation Mike going to get involved here.
Yeah, you wonder.
And of course, Gary's going to bet it. It's the pre-flop raiser. Why not?
Exactly.
He bets
Great-
700.
And it's a great bet here. Really is. He bets about the pot. He actually makes it look like I don't want to call. And I got to tell you, if a 10 were to come off or a 9 come off, Mike is going to go
Well, Mike
broke.
is already raising it all. I think he's raising it all in anyways.
Is he?
And,
Oh, wow.
and an instant call here for Gary.
And Mike is almost drawing dead here.
Yeah, he's going to need some sort of running cards here. This pot's going to be over $5,000.
Well, Mike should have gone broke once already. You wonder if it's going to happen again. He's drawing
It's
dead.
over now. There it is.
And it took Gary an extra hand here, but
And
he
you can
finally
see
gets
it,
Mike's money.
Again, by Gary betting that flop, it gets all the money in from Mike with 9-10, even though he probably shouldn't be in there with 9-10 all in. But again,
130?
if he checks the flop and now the turn card comes an ace, can Mike just get away from it now? Huge, huge action killer. Possibility, obviously.
Straight?
I believe that Mike is going to be back at the table. I think he's going to the other side for a bit, handle some business. But
You point out a great example there. Let's say that now the board was 10-6-5 with 2 spades. Let's say the ace of spades comes off on the turn. Now Mike can beat nothing. You know what I mean? Mike might just check fold.
Told me on the flop. How can you tell me on the flop?
And we are going to be 8-handed here for a couple of minutes.
7, well, yeah, 8-handed. We're playing 7 right now. Oh, now we're playing 8.
Right.
And Danny Wong.
Hey, are you going to play any other satellites to get into the main event here?
I'm not sure. It looks like we can see Mo's head there. Big shot.
Mo just got a new haircut. Scratching his head.
Getting word that Kenna James is somewhere around here, too.
Not sure if Ken is still in the tournament or not. Maybe they're on a break here.
Sir, can I take your card? You want
Now we got a raise here from Todd. He's got
There's
and
Kenna.
Kenna. Is Kenna pregnant? Is that why he's patting his tummy? Pat the Buddha belly. Come on, Donna. Pat the Buddha belly. There you go. Pat the Buddha belly. There we go.
Well, Michael called with King 10. Todd was the raiser with 7s. Again, Michael called with King Jack in the blind last time. This time he calls with King 10.
See, the problem here, you see how Michael doesn't really want to build a pot, though. He just doesn't, you know what I mean? He's just content in, okay, well, I'm done with it.
And Todd is content to check here. Rivers
Oh,
with
well,
5.
I mean, what can Todd beat? I mean, if Todd bets here, can he get a call by a hand that's worse than his?
Well,
I
can
don't
he
know.
get Michael out of there, though, with King 10?
Yeah, definitely, that's a good point. Get an email here from Mauricio. He says, when you guys say that you can make 120 to 150 an hour playing No Limit Hold'em, is that averaged out weekly, daily, or what? Does it include your losses too? How much do you think a decent player can make hourly playing No Limit Hold'em with 1-2 blinds, $300 max buy-in? And what about 3-5, $500 max, and so on and so forth?
Well, I was talking about this with Nicole Pepe. We talked a little bit about it when
Pepe!
we were gone. Basically, what I do is I have an Excel spreadsheet where I put all of the hours. I separate my hourly by games. If I'm playing 5-5, 500 max, that's a different game than 5-10. Is a different game from 10-20. So I type in all of my hours, and I type in a session win or loss, positive or negative, all in one column. And then I auto-sum the hours, auto-sum the total, and then I divide the total by the hours, and that's your average. It's pretty easy. Pretty
much
easy
right.
hourly average.
And obviously you have to.
There's Swan League.
Obviously, you have to include your losses.
Right.
It's everything. You're including your losses. You're including your days that you do nothing.
Right.
You're including your days that you win. And basically, it's
including your days to do nothing, even because there are hours put in.
right. Exactly. Hey, if I'm playing honestly, if I actually play for 10 hours and I don't make any money, or I only make $60 that day, that's going to decrease my hourly
Yeah,
rate.
yeah. Well, Mike is raised here with King 10 suited. Jeff is going to call. We're going to see these two go at it again. Now,
How about a couple of 10s come out
and
here?
how about Mike? What is that? Another 10,000 behind there?
I think so.
Wow. Bought him for 10,000.
Yeah, the first 5,000 was kind of a little feeler. Let's see what happens.
Queen Deuce 3. Both players miss.
And we now have over 65,000 on the table.
And it goes check. Turns a 9, and now Jeff
Oh,
outturns
wow.
Mike.
And Mike is in terrible shape.
Mike is going to bet 120, and I assume that Jeff isn't going anywhere now.
No, I mean, the way Mike played this hand, I mean, it's kind of, you really expect him to believe that 10-9 is not the best hand here?
Well, unless maybe Mike had a set of queens.
Well, that could be. Although Mike usually would bet it.
River's an ace
Oh,
now.
that's a
What
scary card.
if Mike now bets here again, but he just checks it down?
Pair of nines.
Nines are good. Mike says 3 outs and you hit it, of course.
I gotta tell you, I love Mike, but I love giving him crap. Notice how he didn't say anything when the queen hit the river and he split that pot.
Yeah. I believe Ken is still in the tournament, right?
I believe so. I'm assuming they're at break.
Yeah.
But I would imagine, what do you think? What is a good rate though for say the like a 1-2 game with a $300 buy-in or something like that? I mean,
Well, I can tell you what my rate is. I put in about 200 hours in that 3 to 5 game. I mean, I really
the
think
$200 max.
No, the 3 to 5, the
Oh, okay.
300 to 500, 5-5 blind.
5-5 blind.
Which I
game,
guess
okay.
is the same thing as a 3-5 blinded 500 max game, isn't it?
That's
the
similar.
same game.
Similar, yeah.
But again, I think that our hourly rates, and again, I don't mean to sound cocky at all, we're probably going to be in the top 5 or top 10 of the players that play here in these games. Mine was about 65 an hour in that game,
Okay.
which I think is very high. You know, if you just play it tight and straightforward, maybe.
It's funny.
40.
I actually don't have enough hours in that game
Yeah.
to probably really properly look at it. I probably only have a couple hundred hours.
Well, that's what I was going to say. 200 hours probably isn't enough to establish an hourly anyways. Wow, we
Top
have a
two for
raise
Jeff.
here, and Jeff is flop top 2. And it was a raise by Lawrence with ace-jack. And Jeff is going to bet here for
And I got to tell you, if a 7 were to come off here, well, I think you're going to check raise right here, and you're going to see a big check raise right away with bottom 2.
It's actually Danny who just came out and kind of bluffed at it on the button with absolutely nothing, and Jeff is going to check raise.
Yeah, and that's going to get Lawrence out, and Allen's obviously not going to be in there with King 7.
So there you go. I mean, Danny, tight aggressive, just going to use his button there, try to steal a pot.
And
the
he's-
pot was 800. He has nothing, though, obviously.
Yeah, he gave it a shot. It didn't work. Okay.
And obviously, Danny can correctly realize that Jeff is not just check raising him, he's check raising 3 other players that were in between here.
Exactly.
800. It's like Danny's just going to save a little face and act it up here a bit. Obviously, he's not going to get involved.
Now, if we're talking about a 1-2 blind game with a $300 max, I would probably think, obviously, your hourly, a good hourly, would probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe $30 to $45 an hour. Obviously,
If it's a 300 max game, yeah. I mean, the 200 game, which is the game here. Wait a minute, Danny's gonna re-raise. He has made the wrong read here. We thought he was just gonna get rid of it. He thinks that Jeff is check raising with nothing. I don't know if Jeff is going anywhere here.
no, but Jeff's got to be careful, though. You got to realize this guy is deep. What is he check raising you with? Could he have 10-8?
You mean, what is he re-raising the button with?
Right.
you mean,
He could have 10-8. He could have 6-8. Could he have a pocket 3s? And is there any way he has an overpair like Jacks?
Danny has made it 2,000 more. The pot right now is about 4,000. 2,000 to call. You can see that $5,000 chip in there, right in front of the button there.
No,
That's
really-
that purple chip.
Really puts Jeff in a tough spot, and necessarily, obviously, he's probably not going to fold this.
And here come the grays.
But do you re-raise it?
I don't know. You might have to go into a bit of a defensive little shell here.
I mean, do you re-raise this? Now, remember, it was a raised pot. Danny was not the original raiser.
And Jeff calls, and this pot is quickly 6,000. You always talk about top 2 against bottom set. That might
That's
be
what
a
I mean.
possibility.
You can't beat bottom set. You can beat Jacks or Queens,
Now,
though.
if Danny picks up a spade draw or some sort of straight draw, is he going to take a card? Well, the
Well,
time's a jack.
Well, he's picked up a straight draw. He can catch a 10. He can catch a 10 to
Jeff
win
checks.
this, and that's it.
Well, Danny's got to realize that Jeff really does have something here if he's called the $2,000.
Obviously, he's
re-raise.
check raised, and now he's raised you. Now,
He's check raised, and now he's called.
if you were in Jeff's spot, though, what do you put Danny on?
And Danny is going to bet again here. It's a $6,000 pot, and he is going to bet.
Wow, it looks like 2,500 maybe?
3,000. No, that's about 3,500.
Yeah,
there.
that's literally, we're talking about $3,800.
Well, again, that is still almost only half the pot. He is actually moving in here. We're getting word that he is moving in. The pot was 6,000. He has moved in for an additional.
Well, it's 38. That's 4,000. I'm going to say 5,000 almost. 4,800 probably.
So we're talking about a pot that's about 10,500.
There you go.
4,800 to call.
That's literally, yeah. It's literally, what is it, about a $10,000 pot?
10,500, 4,800 to call. Guy's getting a little over 2 to 1, obviously. What would the guy re-raise you can have set over top 2. It is rare. It's a rare card combination.
But it happens. Well,
Yeah.
let me ask you this. Is there any way, and if Danny did raise you on the come with 10-8, by the way, you got there.
Right.
I don't know if he would have done that or not, but that's one more hand you can't beat here. And Jeff obviously realizes, what would Danny make this move with? A set of 3s is very likely here. Now in this case, Danny's got nothing. Obviously hard to put him on nothing.
Well, I thought that Danny might shut down after Jeff called. Maybe if he picked up a draw card on the turn, take a card. But he is really driven forward there. You almost got to think that Jeff has at least 2 pair if he made that call on the flop.
You wonder.
It was a raise pot pre-flop, so it's not like he's got 9-3 here. He probably has 7-9 specifically.
Yeah, and I think I got to tell you, I think Danny's played it. If he's going to try to get him off the hand, he's played it the best way he can in terms of money. If he only bet like 3,000 there and then 2,000 on the river, that would have been done nothing here. He's going to try to put as much heat as possible on Jeff right away.
Well, he's not even. He's all in. It's a good bet, but remember, it's not even a pot-sized bet. The pot had been grown that big on the flop.
Right, but in this case, you're getting 2-1 on your money. But you're getting 2-1 on your money. Give me possibilities. What could Danny have here that you can beat? Would Danny make this move with queens, kings, jacks? Now, if he had jacks, one more hand you can't beat, by the way. Remember, he smooth called the raise. Danny has been really tight and solid all day. What would he smooth call a raise with?
Yeah, but would he really re-raise your check raise with an overpair? I mean, isn't that playing it very dangerously?
He might. No, he
Really?
might.
Would he re-raise with pocket queens after you check raise?
Sometimes you re-raise with jacks or queens there to actually
And he
kind
makes
of,
the call. He
Oh,
makes
wow.
the call, and Danny just needs a 10. That's all that Danny needs. He's got 4 outs here to the win. Wow.
Okay, baby. No hits on this.
And here we go to the river. Oh, river's a 10!
Oh my God! You got to be kidding me!
The river's a 10, an $11,000 pot there for Danny.
Oh,
And
that
Jeff
is
can't
sick.
believe it. He can't believe it.
Oh my God! That is sick!
Wow.
That is so sick!
Unbelievable.
Oh my God! That is sick!
Just making a move and then backing in. That reminds me of that hand with 9-6 against my pocket aces, Dave, that we did in the video.
Oh my God! That
Guys-
is just disgusting. I'm gonna go throw up.
Guy is just making a move on the flop, and he happens to back into a hand. Just by luck, he happens to back into a
I
hand.
mean, he had no pair,
Yeah.
no draw on the flop.
Yeah.
Backs into a gut shot and then hits it.
Wow.
That is absolutely sickening. Unreal. Now, I was going to ask you, though. Now, this is the one thing I was going to say. Sometimes, with pocket jacks, you might re-raise to actually control pot size and then check behind you. But now you hit your set, and now you're going to bet it, obviously. I'm just throwing another hand out there.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, I don't think there's any way that you and I make that move with an overpair. If we are going to listen to me,
I
here.
think you're wrong. I tell you I do. I'm telling you right now I do.
You're going to re-raise a check raiser on the flop?
I might.
Oh, come on.
No, Bart, I'm being
With
honest with you.
pocket queens?
I might, 'cause remember, I want to be in control of the pot. I might lay it down. I might lay queens down, but I might re-raise, and if I re-raise the queens, if I re-raise there, what I'm going to do is probably check behind on the turn if a safe card comes off, and that way I'm controlling pot size, and I'm going to force him to bet, but the pot is small.
I don't
we
buy
talk
it.
about it. We talk about it all the
I don't buy
time. We talk about it all the time, where by raising you can actually control pot size.
I know what you're saying. I don't buy that if you smooth called on the button with jacks there, and the guy check raised 3 people in between, you would re-raise 2,000 more with jacks on a 7-9-3 rainbow board.
What am I going to do? I'm just going to check call, then let him bet. And
You have position. You're not check calling. Remember, you have position. He's check raised you.
Bart, if I just call him, right, now he leads on the turn for $2,000. Well, now all I can do is call or move in, okay?
There's no way that you re-raise with jacks there.
You're 100% wrong.
Oh,
I'm telling you right now,
please.
there's a good chance I play it the same way if I have jacks or queens there. Look at us here. Mike is
Mike's got
straddled
kings
and got
in the
kings.
straddle
Kings
spot.
in the straddle spot. Unbelievable. I'm not saying I play it that way every time, but there's a good chance I might play it that way. Oftentimes, I will raise to actually control pot size. I would probably now, on the turn, I would probably check behind if a safe card comes off, and then call a bluff on the river if I think the guy's bluffing me.
And the guy's bluffing you after he check raised 4 people on the flop,
You
right?
never
'Cause,
know.
Again, here you go with the induce the check on the turn, induces a bluff on the river. I don't buy it. Mike's got the overpair here, 9-4-9.
And then this is over.
And he bets 400. Wow, and Michael's going to call. move after move here. The turn is a 6. The turn is a 6 here. And Mike checks, and so does Michael. Mike shut down there on the turn, and the river's a 7, and now Mike's going to bet.
And Mike's pretty sure he's got the best hand here. He's going to bet it. Takes down. I'm not saying I definitely do it. There's actually a good chance I might just lay down my overpair.
Well, I think that's probably the best move to make right there.
I'll give you honestly, though, if somebody were to raise me there, if somebody check raises there, if I had queens or jacks in that position, there's 3 possible plays, obviously. Fold, call, or raise, right? I got to tell you, I'm probably folding or raising more often than I'm calling. Honestly. Because I don't want to call because I know this guy is going to lead up in.
Yeah, look at that board.
Then you made it on the turn. You could easily represent that. He did. No, he didn't. He checked.
What did you say about Annie Duke? Oh, I was gone.
Oh no, I was comparing her to Gabe Thaler. How unknown he is. And I was saying, you know, if Gabe Thaler and Annie Duke were at a table and you put them on TV, you know, to a layman, they would look at it and go, "Oh my God, Annie Duke, she's going to kill this poor guy." They have no idea.
But you could also represent the open-ender and call.
Wow, look at this. Limped around here and an all-in by seat 4.
He's not that deep here.
He's making, well, it's 900. Well, he's got pocket 8s.
Well, he's probably going to steal a pot here, isn't he?
A couple limpers and such.
Remember, the blinds are 20-40 here, so he can steal about $200. I understand what you're saying. Obviously, I don't like to play over pairs that strong. It's only one pair. But we talk about it all the time. By sometimes raising it, you're actually controlling pot size.
Oh, we do. Sometimes you do that with top pair on the flop. You might try to on a top pair on the flop with a dry heavy board. You might raise, drive some people out, and then you might check the turn.
Am I taking a lot of crap for the Annie Duke thing?
If shut up, talk. Stop talking, talk. Yeah, talk. Please shut up. From Moondoggle.
Oh, who cares what Moondoggle says? Nobody ever listens to him anyway.
Butt moves here to seat 5.
Oh, there you go, laughing out loud. Why the randomness with Annie Duke? You know, it's funny, actually. Negrano was actually talking about Annie Duke. And the things he was saying about her, oh, my God.
Oh, from way back when. I remember some RGP old posts.
You know what the dealers supposedly call Annie Duke in Vegas?
What?
It's Annie Puke.
I think I heard him say that, right?
Yeah, that's supposedly what the dealers call her in Vegas.
But then again, you know, I've read a lot of stuff where there was a guy that posted up a couple months back that said he played with her in the main event. She was nothing but just classy.
Hey,
did nothing
I
wrong.
have nothing but good things to say about Annie Duke. I think she's lovely. I've met her a couple times, and every single time I've met her, she's been really nice to me and everybody that I'm friends with. I'm just telling you what I heard.
We had a raise here by Jeff to 120, and we're going to see 4-way action here. Here we go. Queen 10-3. Well, if you raise with Jack 8 of clubs, I don't know what else you're going to look for here, but look at Allen. He's got the nut club draw. Queen 10-3, all clubs. Jeff's got a club draw and a gut shot to the 9, but Allen's got the nut clubs.
Yeah.
330.
And Jeff is going to bet 330 here. Isn't a whole lot that anyone's going to get involved in, I do not think. Mike isn't going to call with a 6-3 here, a red 6-3.
No, but Allen's not going anywhere.
Oh, of course not.
Now, if both players miss clubs, which is probably what's going to happen, you'll see Allen play it passively and Jeff probably take it away with Jack High, right?
Well, you wonder if Jeff is going to take a card here on the turn, or is his hand big enough to make another pretty big, decent semi-bluff here at it on the turn. Here we go to the turn. Well, the turn's a deuce. That's a perfect blank. And Jeff is going to continue to bet.
Yeah.
He bets 600. It's kind of a weakish bet, about maybe a half pot size bet here.
I can't believe that 10 fell, man. That's sickening.
And Allen calls again, and this pot is $2,500. Here we go to the river. And the river is a king. Everybody's missed, and Jeff has to bluff at it.
Yeah,
Can he use this as an overcard?
Now, Allen sometimes does bluff here, and look, there it is.
Yep, now he's going to bluff on the missed. Now, is he representing Jack 9 here?
Well, I mean, that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
But that's a play that Allen will do once in a while. He will bluff at it when he misses.
Yeah, but the funny thing here is I got to point out, he's bet 1,100 here. The pot is 3,700. If Jeff had any piece of this, he would call. I think Allen has accidentally won this by a bluff because Jeff was on the same draw. But the bet is so puny on the river, it's a poor attempt to win it by a bluff.
Well, that's the whole point with Allen. I absolutely love this guy. But he has no idea where Jeff's at.
Right.
He just knows that he missed, he has to bluff at it. That's all he knows. He doesn't think that maybe this guy's missed also. He doesn't think anything like that.
suspect? You didn't like my betting on that?
Well, I mean, it was a little bit weak.
Button moves over here to Mike.
And my bash on Andy Duke actually wasn't really as much about Andy Duke as really I was just trying to point out how good Gabe Thaler is.
Yeah.
That was really more of it. Actually, I'll honestly say I could put Gabe Thaler at a game with any number of named TV professional poker players, and he would run circles around all of them. He's that much better than most of those guys. And I'm not talking about Phil Ivey. I'm talking about different players. Some of the TV guys that we see and we go, oh my God, he's such a good player.
All right, 3 cards for everybody.
5 players.
Limped around here 5 ways. Ace, king, queen on the flop. Alan's got queen 10. He's got bottom pair and a straight draw. Looks like Mike actually has the best hand with king deuce. Gets checked over to Mike. He's going to bet 100.
Always amazed by the hands Mike plays here. King deuce here.
And Alan's going to involve himself.
Up and down offsuit.
And Jeff is also going to involve himself with a gut shot to the jack. Turns a 4. Mike is still good.
Hey, you wonder what Jeff is calling there.
And Mike is checked as well. Here we go to the river, and the river is a queen, and Alan's got trip queens.
Yeah, and he's going to bet it.
Yep. And is Mike going to pay him off here? He's not going to.
He can't beat the ace. The only time I'll ever pay Alan off is if there is a flush draw out there. He has check called, and now he leads in.
Right.
Because then it just goes, come on, Alan. What are you trying to represent here, buddy?
Got about an hour left in the show. Was there a couple, when we panned over that board, are there a couple of other 10-20 games going here right now? A couple other 1,000 games? Probably wouldn't surprise me. Maybe 4 or 500s and 2,000s and a
right.
2,000.
And then obviously the 120-40 game.
Yeah.
We have another 1,000 game going right now. And we've got a ton of 5s, and we've got a big board for this one.
Right. Well, the thing about the 5, though, is because it's uncapped, it can play big if people want it to play big.
Of course.
You don't necessarily have to open a bigger game if everyone's deep at that 5.
Of course not.
You know what I mean?
5-10 game can play very, very big.
Right. 5-way action here, limped around.
It can also play very small, depending on who's in the game. Well, Lawrence with top pair, top kicker. Now, Joe has got an 8 also. Will he get involved? Oh, no, Joe's not even in the hand anymore, sorry.
Well, Lawrence is going to bet with ace 8. He bets 300 on the button.
Yeah, pretty no-brainer there. It's almost like every hand is contested, you know what I mean? It's like nobody's letting something go. Now, this is one of the few where I got to assume that they're just going to throw it away.
I think this is the Allen fake like I'm going to bluff, smile, and fold.
Yeah, you think so? You might have watched them play poker once or twice, right?
Yeah. Well, Michael is called. He's got a straight draw. The turn is another 8, and Lawrence has got trip 8s now.
Yeah, that's the
and he
case.
checked it. He checked it. And the river's a king. I don't really understand that. Although it looks like he is going to induce a bluff here by Michael.
He is going to induce a bluff. The problem is, though, is you look at that board.
It's not really all that draw heavy, is it?
Well, it's one of two things. Your opponent either has probably an 8.
With a weaker kicker, which you want him to. You
Right.
want to bet that turn.
Or he probably has 6-7 or
Right.
6-4 or 4 deuce, which you don't want to give a free card for.
Right.
Because he can beat you with any of those cards. And now Lawrence is going to bet, and now Michael's going to bet, and Lawrence is.
Well, this is what, one of the times where I always criticize people about checking and made full house on the turn. At least with a full house, you can safely raise the river, although it looks like Lawrence is going to raise the river anyways. But you're right, checking the turn there is pretty much negative EV in both possibilities. You want to bet if the guy's got a lower kicker than you with an 8, and you want to charge him for your draw, right?
Right.
You don't want him to let him get there.
And if the guy had something like ace-5,
Right.
he might think his 5 is good now. You know what I mean? He
Right.
might not. He might think you're full.
Right.
But remember, you were betting on the button.
Right.
Not necessarily giving you credit for your 8 now. Now another 8 comes off. It's less likely you have the 8. Maybe my ace-5 is good.
Lawrence is going to raise it up here, 700.
And obviously Michael's not going to get involved here. He's going to throw it away. But yeah, I just don't understand the check on the turn at all.
Well, the other thing, too, is you look at it, sometimes the combination of hands that you hold with an 8, your kicker, sometimes fills you up on the river if the guy makes a straight. Say you have 8-7 and you think the guy's got 6-4 and the 7 comes, well, that's a magical card. But ace-8, nothing's going to do that for you there.
No, if the guy hits his straight, you're
Yeah.
dead.
Right.
At the same time, if the guy has the 8, all you're doing is keeping the pot small.
Yeah.
Another thing I love doing is when I actually have a hand on the button, that's when I really like to bet it. Because nobody ever gives you credit. They think maybe you're doing a button steal.
Right.
And apparently the 2+2 board, they are finally getting to see the hand, that 10 on that river.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, that was sick. What was that, $11,000 pot, huh?
Yeah, that's huge.
Actually, no, it was at $10,500, $4,800 to call. All told, it was a $16,000 pot. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah, with that money in there, yeah.
Oh.
$16,000 swing.
That's
yeah.
Literally, that 10 is
Yeah.
worth $16,000. $16K.
Lawrence here raced it with Ace King 9-6-3.
We say it so easily, but it's like,
Well, that's where you talk about bankroll considerations in this game. I mean, just one card is so big.
God. I mean, can you imagine being in this game and you're playing? Let's say you stepped up in this game
Right.
and you bought in for $5,000 and you had it up to like say 7 or 8. And you were doing pretty well, and you had that hand and you made a big call and you're all psyched. You're like, yes, and the 10 comes and suddenly your entire, that whole buy-in is gone. Oh, that I got to assume you just go to the bathroom and just throw up.
Well, it looks like Michael is going to check raise here with 9-10. Now, we always talk about you never know if this hand is good enough to check raise against a deep stacked opponent out of position because you don't know where you're at. You might just lead here. Lawrence doesn't have anything. Let's see if he's going to get involved. Michael really hasn't done anything out of line.
Nah.
We've seen a lot of guys float here tonight with absolutely nothing.
I got to tell you, and I hate floating in a spot like this because just in case Michael took one off with ace-6 or ace-9, you got to realize that your ace is no good. Now, obviously, if a king were to come off, it's probably good. But I hate taking one off with ace-king. You never know. Your opponent was in there with like ace-6 of like diamonds, something like that. Now you catch an ace on the turn and you get killed.
I wish I did.
He's not going to get
Nah.
involved. Let me throw out like a little rule of thumb as there's some discussion here. If you have an hourly in a game that's, let's just say it's an uncapped game, or a game that's at least, say, 100 big blinds deep, if you make 10 big blinds per hour, I would say that that's probably a very good hourly. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I mean, it seems that way. You look at it, you go, let's say I'm playing the 5-5
You're playing
game
10-20 and it's 200, 5-5, 50, 5-10, 100.
Yeah, that's probably pretty good.
Yeah.
Probably pretty good. Obviously, you've got to adjust it. You've got to realize that sometimes 10-20 games, sometimes a 5-10 game plays bigger.
Sometimes
so you can
play
make 130,
smaller.
140,
Right,
some
right.
play smaller. Same thing with 10-20 games.
Yeah. Like, I would think that, at least in the case here, that the 10-20 game, your hourly, and you have a lot more hours in it than I do, would probably be exponentially more than just double the 5-10 hourly because of how big the game plays.
It's weird. It's actually not, though.
Really?
Believe it or not. No,
Yeah.
well, no, it's not. It's not double. Actually.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean,
does that
I'll tell you, right now my 5-10 hourly is about $105 an hour.
Right.
My 10-20 hourly was $180 an hour last I did. So it's not even double.
But do you think it's the same level of play and such? And just is it because you're a little more shallow when you're in that game?
Maybe.
Yeah.
That could be it. So, yeah.
I think maybe because you're a little shallower.
Maybe I don't buy in. Let's say the 5-10 game,
Right.
I might buy in for $1,600 or $2,000.
Right.
Well, the 10-20 game, I might only buy in for $2,500.
Now,
I'm not
Mike,
actually buying in double.
was Mike the pre-flop raiser here with Jack 10 in seat 6? Well, he's going to come out and bet. I couldn't quite tell who the pre-flop raiser was. Well, Mike is going to come out and bet here, and I don't know if anyone can get involved.
I mean, part of it also is, Bart, I'll just say this to you. The 5-10 game, let's say a normal 5-10 game we see here at the bike, there might be $35,000 on the table, $40,000 on the table. Well, the normal 10-20 game, it's not double. There's not
Right.
$80,000 on the table. There might only be 60. So I actually think the 10-20 game here probably plays. It's funny, the 10-20 game at Commerce actually plays more like our 5-10 game here.
Right, I think it's almost smaller.
Yeah, and the 10-20 game here probably plays like 70% bigger than
Right.
the 5-10 game, maybe
Right.
60. And I think my hourly is probably about 60% or 70% bigger.
No, and I think the more and more I think about it, I think you're right. It probably wouldn't be double in the 10-20 because you are inherently shallower.
Right.
But then, an interesting point that Jive Dadson brought up on the thread as well is that I don't think you can make a direct correlation in comparisons. There's probably a margin of error of between as much as $10 to $15 an hour in rake considerations, jackpot considerations, and collection considerations between casino and casino.
Not even a
You
question.
can't say if a guy makes 90 here, well, I make 105, I'm better than him. Well, no, it might be the structure of collection is different.
Of course, it's also a matter of until you guys have compiled 10,000 hours or
Right.
15,000 hours. I mean, $10, $15 is nothing.
Right.
You know, you're talking about a plus-minus error of at least 15-20%.
Raise here by Mike with ace-9 pre-flop, and he hits the 9 right off here. 9-4-3. He's going to bet 400.
I'll tell you, you're 5. Wow, and Alan had pocket threes, I'm hearing.
He did not call.
And unfortunately for Alan, Alan was not even there.
Yeah.
He'd gotten up. Now, I'll tell you, the 5-5 game, though, your hourly is a lot better than mine. My hourly in that 5-5 game, now I only have, like I said, about 200 hours in it,
Yeah.
so I don't think it's enough. But I'd probably say my hourly is somewhere in the range of low 40s, like 42,
Really?
43 an hour. That's it.
But I think our 5-10 hourlies are pretty much similar.
Yeah.
I mean, the first 300 hours I was at like 125, and then I went down, and now I'm back up to right around where you are. So,
I mean, the funny thing with the 5-5 game, though, is I so rarely play it that most of, I will say,
you don't get deep enough to really make anything. Yeah.
first of all, that's it. Second, if I do double up, I'm usually out of it into another game, into a bigger game. But I'll also say that 75% of the hours that I put into the 5-5 game, I put in over a year ago. And my game is obviously exponentially better than it was a year ago.
Mike's got pocket aces.
Ooh, sevens here for Gary, and Gary is deep. Gary's deep here. If sevens were to come in now, wow, we've got pocket. No, I'm sorry, I thought it's pocket eights here.
Yeah.
It's an easy call if you're Gary. Real easy call. You're very deep. That's the kind of stuff you're looking for. Danny's going to call us with 8-9.
Now, did Danny obviously rebought, right? It's funny that Danny played that so soft. He actually, no, he
Wow.
didn't rebought because he won that hand.
Oh,
Forgot
man.
about that, yeah.
Well, and I got to tell you now, if you're Mike here, man, you are now going to see this flop like 6 ways.
And Mike is really deep, so he really has to bring a little bit of caution here. I mean, is he going to automatically lose 10,000?
Well, the funny thing is, you have 3 players that are all deep.
Right.
If you combine, those 4 players have over $50,000 at the table. Wow.
Oh, set of aces here for Mike. Well, and it's not draw heavy at all.
I got to tell you, if there was ever a board where you could slow play a little bit, this is one of them.
He's going to bet real weak.
Yeah, you got to realize, though, obviously.
I don't know if Danny's going to go anywhere. Danny might call maybe to hit 2 pair, and he's got extreme reverse implied odds here on the button.
Yeah.
With 8-9.
If an 8 or a 9 were to come off, he would be absolutely killed.
Yeah.
And this is one of those rare cases where Danny is actually drawing dead. I mean, he needs actually running 8s. Sorry.
Mike can't be happy about that.
No, and Jeff's going to fold, and Mike just takes it down.
But, again, I don't necessarily mind the bet. There aren't a really huge amount of lags here that are going to really...
Well, you got to realize also, you got to understand that when the board comes off ace, 8, and deuce,
Yeah.
if somebody has king, jack, if a king comes off, it's not like they suddenly don't see the ace.
Right.
It's not like they're suddenly going to commit $10,000.
Well, that's the other thing about slow playing a set of aces versus slow playing some other top set where you might have an overcard come that gives somebody top pair. We're going to
Chip
take a
count
look
here.
at another chip count here.
Wow, 64,000 on the table. Now Danny, courtesy of that 10, is our chip leader with 17.5. Mike with 11,000. Jeff still has 9.5. Let's see how these players are doing. Danny up 8,500. And I got to hand it here. Jeff, by the way, is only down $500. He lost $16,000 on one card, and he's only down $500 for the night. Joe's our big loser. He's down $5,800, and we'll keep track of this throughout the evening.
Got an email here from Scotty. We'll get to it in a second. Agreeing with you, Dave, that he said he would almost always re-raise in that spot if he had no overpair on the button. That argument that we got.
I'm not saying I would always. I'm just saying that you telling me that I would never do it is off base.
That one I had beat.
He says, I play in this game, same game live, and I almost always would re-raise in that spot if I had no overpair, especially against the player in seat 3. His range of hands where he checks and raises with can be very big. Top pair, straight draw, even especially with the button betting, it could look like position bet. Then if seat 3 calls my re-raise, then I shut down. But I think that seat 3 lays down a lot of hands for my re-raise on the flop. Again, we kind of do commentary like really on the fly. I mean, that brings up a good point that he might check raise with a hand as weak as just top pair because
It's a button bet.
It's a button bet. Yeah.
Right. That was my only point. I go, like I said, I mean, once in a while you might re-raise that just to take the pot back into your hands.
So you
can
take
kind
the
of
betting lead back.
Right, and then when he checks to you on the turn,
Yeah.
you can check behind, and in that way you're actually controlling the pot size.
Right.
You keep the pot somewhat small.
Got a raise here by Jeff with ace-queen. And Lawrence is going to come in here with king-queen. He is dominated. Alan is also in there with queen. And all the queens are dead. Everyone's got a queen
Nobody
here.
respects my raises.
Ace, queen, king, queen, queen, deuce, and queen, jack.
That would have been cool if a queen came up.
Yeah. King, jack, 7 here on the flop.
Well, Lawrence with top pair here, but
Jeff is going to bet 400, and Lawrence just check calls with king, queen. Jeff's got a gut shot here. He could also catch an ace against Lawrence.
yeah, this pot's getting big really quick, huh? Alan not going to take one off?
Pot is $1,300 right now.
Oh, maybe he is.
Well, he's got, he's going to have to overcall here with queen, jack. Wow, he does.
Oh, wow.
$1,600 pot.
Well, if he
Allen
hits
is
his jack,
virtually
he is.
drawing dead here. Turns a 5. Let's see if Jeff takes a card here. Well, now Lawrence is going to do that check call lead on the turn. He bets 1,200 here.
Yeah. Safe card. He wants to put a little heat on his opponents just in case his opponent has queen 10.
Again, though, I will bring up the fact that if Jeff had ace, king, or aces here, it is the inherent problem with king, queen, right?
Well, yeah, he would, but if he had ace, king, or aces, could he raise anyway?
no, but this
No.
and it would also put you almost in a little bit of a tough spot here on the turn. I think he would call.
The next card before I bet.
Right. That's one of the reasons why that check kind of lead into the turn. It is a strong play. You can do it with some big hands. You can do it with kind of smallish hands like king, queen. Because even if somebody only had here pocket aces,
Yeah.
it really puts them to the test.
Doug G on 2+2 says, I want to say how nice it is to see the loser of the hand, seat 3, handle it with such class. He didn't throw a fit. Mike would have flipped the table, at least tore up the cards. And that's true, although Mike's antics are entertaining.
Yeah,
for
they
sure.
are. I love them.
Yeah.
I mean, no, Jeff definitely handled
Yeah.
it with class. I mean, he took a walk. He walked away for a second.
Mike would have still, you would have still seen the smoke be coming out of his head right now.
Honestly, I got to tell you, you would have seen the smoke come out of my head too.
Yeah.
That's a $16,000 swing. That's a 10 that cost you that much money because some friggin' donkey is making a move on me. That would drive. Oh man, I'm sorry. I would challenge most players to just kind of like just blow it off my shoulder.
I don't think Dave is necessarily calling Danny a donkey.
Oh, no,
but the
not don-
situation of
No, it's not. It would be
Right.
if something happened to me in that case.
Right.
Where the guy was making a move on me, got lucky, and I lost a $16,000 pot. I actually think Danny's a very good player.
Right. I just wanted to clarify that.
Oh no, thank you.
Michael,
God forbid I offended somebody.
Michael is going to raise it up here to 340. And Todd is going to call. Well, Todd's got big slick suited. Might he just push here? He's short. He is going to push. I don't think there's anything wrong with that with these stacks.
No, not at all. Nothing wrong at all with that move there.
Yeah.
If by chance Michael's got, if Michael had 9s or lower, he might lay it down. If he's got ace queen or ace jack, he's got him dominated. In this case, unfortunately.
And the only guy that's really playing the short stack here is C4. Now that Lawrence has some chips here, and you wonder if Todd loses this hand, will somebody else come in and we're all going to play total deep stack poker here?
Well, these guys are all deep. I mean,
Yeah.
we got a lot of money at this table.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
And Todd's going to need hearts or an ace here. No help yet.
Nope.
Still
He needs
no
an
help.
ace. Ace and an ace only. It does not come, and that's it for
Michael-
Todd.
Yeah, and Todd is going dead there. He's out.
Yeah, that's it for him. Yeah, it actually is pretty rare that we only have. I mean, there's usually at least a couple of short stacks. He's the only one. Like I said, some guy comes in and buys him for $5,000. No one's on the short stack.
No, I think Alan's only got it like 3,000, right? 4,000. Trying to get no, Alan's actually got. I'm sorry, Alan's made some money.
Yeah.
Alan's got probably $4,000 there.
I mean, I might make a comment that it's pretty rare to play in a full ring game where everyone is at least 150 big blinds deep. Don't you think?
Yeah, no, this is definitely a deep game.
Yeah.
Where big cards go down in value. I think suited connectors, small pocket pairs, well hidden hands like that, they go up in value. And Mike's going to move over to seat number 4 there. And we're going to get a new player in seat number 6.
It wouldn't surprise me if they start a feeder must move into this game as well. The demand is there.
Oh, you might, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to see after having a big game here during Legends.
Of course, we'll have this game tomorrow as well because it's going to be another tournament tomorrow. I think it's 1,000 with a rebut, right? Tomorrow?
So tomorrow's a limit hold'em 1,000.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay. Well, we'll
But
have
tomorrow's
our,
Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll have our normal game though.
Our normal Wednesday game. And
You never know though. I mean, there still might be at least a couple hundred people that come in for that.
now Thursday we might actually have a smaller game. I'm thinking we might have a $500 game on Thursday, only because the $1,500 no limit.
Yeah, but
tournament
Thursday
actually-
we're going to be streaming the media event anyways.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
It's easy then.
Yeah.
So I was going to say because Thursday's actually the Mariani Bus charity event, and that doesn't start till 7:15 p.m.
Yeah. But Thursday we're going to stream the final table. And I'm not exactly sure
Where's
how...
golf? What happened to golf this
Yeah,
year?
but there was no golf event this year? Huh.
What is going on with that? They got
Wow.
canceled.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Great fun that we had. You still carry around that little man bag.
I
The
do,
little
man. I
purse.
love my little man purse.
Yeah, the bike gave you from last year.
Come on, man. Hey, if it's free, it's for me.
I wonder if we could have gotten Larry Gilbert.
I can't even get hold of that guy, man. I swear to God. I called him like once every 3 weeks for like 4 months straight.
Really? He didn't return your calls?
And I never got a call back. So you know what? I can take a hint.
Maybe he just wanted to be out of that environment. He thought you were a bad influence on him, Dave.
Yeah, I'm a terrible influence. I'm just a degenerate gambler, I guess.
Button moves over to seat 8.
The odds of that? You getting that hand 3 times in a row, Mark?
3 times in a
And we are limped around here. 4 ways. King, Jack, King.
Oh, we got trips here for seat number 5. And Joe has not had much luck all day.
Joe
Finally,
hasn't
he
been
gets
playing
trip
that
king.
many hands. Mike is going to come out and bet on the...
He was down 5,000 like almost
Yeah.
immediately. So he's kind of like a little snake bit. Pulled back a little bit.
Well,
Now he's back in the
going to
fray.
raise it right away.
Well, I think with King 10, I think you got to find out where you're at right away.
Mike was just kind of making a move at it here.
Yeah. And I believe Joe is going to win this year. Any else?
Classic card being clicked. We still have to work on that with our poker director.
What?
I won't stand for it, us getting the minimum chips for the free roll that's coming up. Anyone doesn't know what we're talking about? Everyone gets a certain amount of chips for these free roll tournaments that are with.
Is there another free roll tournament coming up?
Yeah, in the next month.
What's that one
The
gonna be?
classic card, they no longer pay hourly amount, but what they do is you get hours towards the free roll tournament. The more hours you play, the more chips you get. The last free roll gave away 8 Legends main event seats, 8
Right.
seats to the Mariani event, which is tomorrow, and 8 $300 seats to the last Sunday's event. This one I think is a $50,000 free roll or a $100 buy-in, but that money goes into the prize pool.
Really?
Yeah.
And I see. And they're saying that people that work at the bike.
Get the minimum chips, which is
well.
exactly. Why don't
I'll
we'll just go play someplace else?
Yeah, I'll play a different casino. Joe's got aces.
And it looks like he just smooth called Mike's raise.
Now, how much is the raise? 140?
Yeah, it looks like it. But it looks,
And I believe we're going to be heads up here.
looks like he's going to get what you want to happen here. Yeah, just call.
Yeah. The only thing is, though, is I don't mind raising Mike a little bit there because he will call a raise out of position.
With a very dominated or inferior hand.
Yeah, and there's value there.
There's value in also the fact that the pot gets... Oh, it goes check on the flop. Mike checks again, and now... Boy, I'm really surprised that Joe checked that flop. And the river is a
Wow.
jack, and now it's a
One-liner.
one-liner straight, and Mike get checked down now.
Well, now the pot is pretty big. Now the pot's about $1,200, $1,300.
Yeah.
Mike probably doesn't think he has to bet this.
I'm just surprised that, if you're going to play aces like that, KG, where you just smooth call the raise and the flop comes out like that and the guy checks to you, maybe trying to play it KG himself, checking an overpair, how do you check the flop? What if a 9, what if a jack, what if a 6 comes off?
I happen to agree with you. Maybe Joe was thinking, I'm going to play this cagey, and I'm going to really try to trap this guy, if by chance, and he'll never put me on an ace.
Yeah.
He'll never put me on a set of aces, obviously. Something like that.
But I can see what you mean. If you re-raise Mike, the pot gets bigger. And a lot of times you don't want to build a huge pot with one pair, but against him, he might feel more apt to chase if he hits a piece of it, because the pot gets bigger.
Well,
and
that,
bigger.
and there's also a matter of, Mike will call. He will call pre-flop with questionable hands.
Absolutely.
So there is value to raising him.
Yeah.
A lot of other good players, and Mike's a very good player, but a lot of other good players, if you were to re-raise them, you give them so much information about your hand, and they just throw their hand away.
Yeah.
And apparently Phil Hellmuth is claimed to be the best Hold'em player in the history of poker. He might be the best Hold'em tournament player in the history of poker.
Joe's got ace jack.
Hard to
here.
argue against that. I don't know about cash games, but in terms of Hold'em tournaments, you know, I got to tell you, if I had to put one person into a Hold'em tournament, you know, he might be my choice.
No, definitely.
You know,
Definitely
God.
make a case for that. Look at Alan lays down
10
the weak
bracelets,
ace.
you know, 10 bracelets, and they're all in Hold'em.
Alan lays the weak ace down. So a couple comments here from Mauricio Fernandez saying, Dave just addressed that. He said, you guys are always touting Mo as a great player, but I've never seen him win big on live with the bike. He makes some questionable calls from where I've seen, like trip aces against the flush the other day. Number 3 says, I became a subscriber on the promise that you would have a lot more giveaways and promotions. I have to say, I have not seen much of that.
Wait a second.
We'll get to that in a second.
Didn't we have pick a winner last week?
We did.
I mean, like, what was that, last Wednesday? Last Wednesday, you pick a winner for $250? Where were you?
See, number 4, about Boston, don't even get me started. He's a donkey, and he won't shut up. He's always talking over Bart, and his analysis is stupid. Dump him. Bring Sonny back. Well, I got to tell you, that's the first negative comment that we've had about Boston.
Yeah, most of the emails, leave Dave in Vegas.
Right.
Leave Dave in Vegas, let's keep Boston. I kind of figured, I was waiting for a phone call from Evelyn saying, yeah, take your time, buddy, no problem. No rush.
Mike is going to raise it here to 140. Allen is going to call. And Allen has Mike dominated here. We're heads up. Well, 4-4 deuce. Remember, Mike always loves it heads up with Allen.
No, this
always
is an easy
bet.
bet, and Allen's going to throw it away. Now, the last question here, how far are you from the airport, and can I stay close enough to the bike where I won't need a car? We're actually pretty close. I mean, I would say we're within 20 minutes, 25 minutes of the Burbank airport, and we're only about 20 minutes from LAX.
Yeah, it's probably a $25 to $30 cab ride from LAX.
I think we're only 25 minutes from Long Beach Airport. Very
it's
convenient
actually,
as well.
those 3.
Yeah, we're really actually close to all 3 airports, and the best thing you can probably do is take a taxi and stay local. There are some hotels that are local.
We can stay across the street
Yeah.
at the
Ramada Inn.
Ramada. There are also other hotels around that you can.
I actually always say my favorite thing would be I actually stay in Hollywood or downtown maybe, and kind of like check out LA a little bit, and still only be maybe 10 minutes from the bike.
Downtown is really only 10 minutes away.
Exactly.
Yeah. How about stay like right near? You can hit up the Spearmint Rhino on like a late night.
Hey, why even get a hotel? Just stay at Spearmint Rhino 24/7. There you go.
The flush, right? That one time?
4-way action
What
here.
happened after I left? The game go long?
Apparently, Donna's got hookups there at the Spearmint Rhino. She'll hook us up. I think Donna used to dance there.
You did?
10-10-6 here on the flop. Michael's going to bet out with a pair of 6s. And Mike is going to call with 7-9. He's got a gut shot, and he has overcards. I assume he's thinking that his overcards, or he's going to try to represent a 10 on a later street. Turns a 10. Now I don't know what he can represent.
Real difficult for you to represent that.
And it goes check, check, and the river is a 6, and a full house plays on board here.
Yeah, Michael's hand is complete garbage right now.
Well, Mike is going to come out and bet 600 here.
Right now, ace 10. I'm practicing.
And again, Michael would need to call 600 basically
To win like a 200?
To 150 or 200, yep.
Yeah, I mean you're actually getting 1 to 3 on your money instead of normally getting 3 to 1. You're getting 1 to 3 on your money, and the likelihood is yes, you're probably going to chop this up. It's a nice bet by Mike. I think Mike pretty much knows that the other guy probably has a 6, and look at that, he steals the pot. Michael does not want to get involved. He throws it away. Remember, you also can't beat pocket 7s, pocket 8s, pocket 9s, or anything else.
Got about a half an hour left in the show here.
According to Snellgrave on 2+2, he said large cigar usually means a small penis. Any truth to that? Bart?
I don't really smoke the cigars that much.
Okay.
I wouldn't know. Although I got to tell you, the guy that smokes a lot cigars and he's a cigar aficionado is Hollywood Russ. Actually gave me a couple cigars.
And he's got a huge dong. Oh my God, did I just say that out loud? Oh no. I didn't mean that.
Bud moves to seat 4. And we believe you. You would know. Mike is going to raise it up here to 240.
What are the odds we can get a porter in here to take this garbage out? It's like overflowing.
Allen is called and C3 is called. Here we go, 3 ways. Jack 4-6, all hearts. Well, Allen's got the best of it. No one has a heart here.
Now Mike's open-ended, but that's garbage, isn't it, with 3 hearts out there? I got to tell you, I mean, that's one of my general rules. I don't go for opening the straight
Well,
draws when there's
he
free
was
hearts
the
up.
pre-flop raiser. Well, he's going to take a card. Well, the turn's an ace, and now Jeff turns the best hand.
Yeah.
And you wonder, well, Jeff is going to bet into. I was going to say, you wonder if Mike would are going to represent there.
Yeah, well, I think Jeff's going to bet one time, seeing if he has the best hand there. The interesting thing is, surprised that he's actually going to bet into the ace here. And wow, going to get a quick call here from Mike. And is Alan going to call?
Alan's going to overcall with King Jack.
That is
it's not like he's
unreal.
got the King of Hearts in his hand. He doesn't.
That is just sickening.
Wow.
Absolutely sickening.
Here we go to the river. And the river's a Jack!
And Alan's
And
probably
can
going to...
Alan even bet it?
I think he has to bet it.
All right, he is going to come out and bet.
And I don't think anybody's... I think Jeff can easily throw this away. Remember, Mike called after him.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeff probably thinks he has the worst hand.
And if
He's got
Alan
him.
shows the Jack, you know Mike is going to berate him. If Mike folds,
He overcalled with a Jack.
Alan's going
I
to
mean,
show.
if Alan had the King of Hearts, it's a little bit different.
Is Mike going to make a move on Alan? Uh-oh.
He's just calling. No, he's raising.
How can he just call? He doesn't have anything, Dave.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
And Alan makes a quick call.
You know what? I honestly think, Mike obviously
Oh,
couldn't get it. Mike obviously thought, and Alan will make a move sometimes. Let's say Alan has a high heart, King of Hearts.
Right.
He will sometimes make a move. I've never seen Alan try to bluff two players, though.
He's actually probably the easiest player on the table, bro.
What did he say?
Mike said he was the easiest table off the player to bluff.
When the horseshoe's in and he makes trips on the river.
I mean, the funny thing is that, Alan might make a move on that kind of board when he misses a draw, but I don't think he's going to make a move into two players.
Right.
Nice catch.
Amazingly, Mike actually ends up losing an extra, almost $2,000 in that
Flashing
time.
an ace out there. He overcalled
Wow.
with the jack.
And Alan really with no business in the pot at all, ends up hitting the jack on the river and wins himself about $2,500.
I know you. My king or jack comes on good. ESPN out of hard. Sometimes I play with
Mike with a suited ace in the cutoff spot,
Sometimes I play with.
and he is going to raise it up.
I care less about what I have in my hand. Hansa, how are you?
Makes it 180 to go.
That's good.
And you wonder if anybody's going to call this at all. Jeff with a suited king. Now, those suited kings have really worked well for him all night, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. He's flopped a nut flush a couple times.
Yeah, let's see if he does it again.
One time.
And he's going to call. And we are going to see this heads up here. Pot is $400.
Here we go to the flop. Well, he flops a flush
Wow.
draw, and Mike's got an ace. Wow, and it goes check. Mike did not bet on the ace. The turn's a 5. Check.
Yeah,
Mike now bets.
You wonder if Mike's trying to keep this pot somewhat small. Realizing that he got called here, he doesn't have much of a hand.
We wonder if Mike, by checking the flop and now betting the turn, is he going to induce a check raise here by Jeff?
It looks like it.
I
Wow.
was late, Brett. I told him.
But I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. I think it looks
And
like...
Mike beats him in the pot.
Yeah, I think it looks like you think I'm weak.
$1,700 pot to the river, and the river's a jack. And Jeff misses.
And I think if if he bets in here, I think Mike's going to quickly call. I really do.
Wow, and he is going to come out and bet
That I can even reach the
1,000, and Mike quickly calls.
Yeah.
Without a second thought.
I got to tell you, it just doesn't add up.
Yeah.
Okay, it's one thing if you checked your ace, right? Let's say Jeff had ace 10, which is I guess is what he's trying to represent.
When you
Ace
come out
5.
and bet the turn.
Right. That's the whole point. You're going. Okay, I understand checking the flop, but you're going to check the turn too.
Right.
Remember, your opponent has shown no willingness to bet.
Right.
Why would you check twice? To me, it screams like, oh, I think you're trying to steal a pot, so I'm going to try to re-steal it. So Mike made an easy call.
I was just thinking you didn't think I had an ace because I was trying to be quiet.
Obviously, it's so easy for us. We see the cards, but you saw how quickly Mike called him.
I don't remember being blind.
What were you with us? I don't remember.
That's why after you move,
Yeah, Canada was going.
So what is this forum?
Too late. Yeah, actually.
Liz Lou and Barry Greenstein forum.
I don't know.
What is that all about?
There's like a gossip forum over there. It's just
I tell you, some of the people at 2+2 are like women.
big gossip about
Yeah.
Love to talk about Liz Lou and Gene Gluck.
Yeah.
You were under the gun last
And we get Ramsey in the game. Now, Ramsey's a pretty solid player. He plays some big tournaments. Very tight, very solid. If he's putting his money in the pot, he usually has it. But he's aggressive, too. I actually compare him to very like a Kenny Wynn.
Well, 8-7-3 here on the flop. Mike's got a gut shot.
Yeah, nobody else has got much of anything. Ramsey with ace-3.
Mike is going to bet the gut shot. He's got backdoor diamonds as well.
That's the one thing with Mike's game is one thing that's great about his game is he's fearless. He will just continue betting even when he gets caught in a bluff like that against Allen. He just keeps firing and he keeps firing. Very his perseverance is actually probably one of his biggest strengths.
I had you beat, man. 10-6.
That's a qualifier.
If you hit a 9 on the turn, I should
600, right?
stop flopping.
This is gonna be 600, right?
No, tiny bit short.
And apparently it's not enough money for a collection pot.
I should stop flopping. I'm doing it too much.
Wait, Allen bluffed that pot?
No.
Yeah, he did.
Did he? Did he check raise?
He check raised with 9 deuce.
Wow, I couldn't quite catch that. I thought everyone folded.
No, that's what I was trying to figure it out when Allen was taking his money in and he showed the 9 deuce.
Wow. Oh, we didn't even
Oh,
know
we
he had
didn't know he had cards,
That's
that's
what
why.
was confusing.
Come on, Allen.
Got
Trying to give him credit for his first bluff and he can't even show it to us.
Right.
And Allen pulls off a bluff there. Look at that. I can tell you, Allen's getting dangerous. He's getting more and more dangerous. Very mysterious.
Do we have confirmation that Allen won that last
Yeah,
game?
he took the. I saw him take the chips.
Okay,
in.
okay.
I actually saw him take the money in, and he did turn them over. Right.
I thought he was just turning them over to show, like, oh, I have
how
nothing.
bad I have. Right.
I can't
exactly.
call.
That's what I thought too
Yeah.
at first. Apparently, that's what everybody thought.
Got a raise here.
Now we do have people on the floor, but they were tricked as well.
Got a raise here by Lawrence to 340 with 7-5 of spades.
And once again, this is a collection pot. Once again, this pot has to go to flop, and it has to be more than $600.
Well, Mike's got King Jack. He's not going to get involved.
Yeah, that's not a kind of hand that he even
It's
wants to
actually
call.
Lawrence raised it with pocket sixes. Ramsey's got the 7-5 of spades.
And
gonna call.
we're not going to see a flop here.
It's funny how Lawrence chooses the collection pot hands to make raises with, hands that aren't that strong.
Well, maybe he knows that other people aren't going
Maybe.
to call
Maybe.
because it's a collection pot.
If that would happen,
That might be part of the thinking as well. It's one of those things where, like in a tournament, the hand before the break, maybe you can steal that one.
This is great by Doug G, and I think we might incorporate this into the vocabulary. I think from now on we should call the overcall the Allen call.
I think that's a good idea.
yeah.
I like it, Dougie.
And Dave all Allen calls
That's great, exactly.
with the pair of sixes.
Jeff Allen call.
Yeah,
Mo
yeah.
Allen calls. I like that. That's a great idea. When you just kind of got to scratch your head at the overcall,
Right,
when it's a
right,
really
right.
weird overcall.
Right.
If it's just a normal overcall, it's no big deal. I like that though.
Four-way action here, looped around.
Yeah, $160 pot.
King deuce 3 here with a couple diamonds, misses everybody.
I came back and said I'd call.
Whoever bets this is going to take it down.
I can't bluff too many times. I was trying to give him two
Queen high is good right now. Turns an ace. Queen high is still good right now.
Yep, the nuts.
Deal.
And it's going to check around one more time. I don't think Allen's going to take a shot at it.
Well, Allen backs into a pair.
Yeah.
I'm not bluffing two more.
If you were Allen, would you ever bet this?
Just for the value of not showing down a cards. I mean, what, you get called by a 3?
Well, you might get called by a 3, or maybe you can set up later on that you're able to steal a pot. Is there any value? I mean, would somebody might somebody even call you with Queen High,
That's still not qualified yet.
thinking you're trying to steal? I don't know.
Still didn't qualify as a collection pot.
We continue. God
Now,
bless you.
again, they do collection pots here, but I think it's fairly interesting to note that you can just not have it be a collection pot game if everyone just decides to. Or you can just object to it and just pay your own collection at any time, I believe.
Right. Well, actually, if you are not at the table,
They pay your collection, right?
they just take your money
Right.
out of your stack.
Right.
So you really want to be at the table for the collection pot. Because theoretically, if you don't win any of the collection pots all day,
Right.
you don't pay any
collection.
rake.
So I guess does that favor the tighter players? I would guess then.
Well, I mean,
But wouldn't
That
the
was-
same thing just be said about the rake? Though,
of course
if
it
you're
does.
tighter, it's
Yeah,
the same
exactly.
thing.
I mean, Mike probably pays, theoretically, if they were to take $4 out of every single pot or $3 out
Right.
of every pot that Mike won, he probably pays I'd say 100% more rake than you pay. Maybe even 200% more rake than you pay.
Mike's got ace-king in the straddle spot, and he's going to make it 300 to go. And Joe calls with pocket fives.
And obviously, you don't think it's a big deal, but over the long haul,
of course.
over a couple of year span, you're talking $20,000. He probably pays $20,000 more in jackpot and rake than you pay.
Right.
That's a huge number.
Michael has called, and Jeff has called. Wow.
I mean, you can make the argument that if the rake is high enough in a casino, it actually pays to play tighter and win less spots.
$1,300 pot, and Mike has hit the king. Now look at this. Michael's open-ended with Jack 10, King, Queen 7.
So there are two clubs out there.
Mike's going to bet 800. Now, again, I'm not a huge fan of trying to represent something against Mike, but with Jack 10, I might be looking for my straight card or club here on the button.
He definitely could. Now, both players are very deep. Mike, I want to look at Michael's stack there. He looks like he's got about $5,000, maybe $4,500.
$2,500 pot here to the turn, and there's the club.
Yeah.
And Mike does have the king clubs. Now, will he use it? Well, I mean, which means that Mike isn't probably going to go anywhere. Michael has the 10 of clubs, and it goes check, check. Here we go to the river. And the river's an ace, and Mike makes top 2, and Michael's got the nuts.
Yeah, and I think this is
not the nuts, but he's got the nuts straight.
Wow, and he bets kind of a smallish bet.
He only bet like 600, and Corporation Mike beat him in the pot. Wow, into a $2,500 pot.
I don't understand that.
He left $2,000 on the table there.
I mean, as quick as Mike checked the turn and as quick as he checked the river, I think it was pretty apparent that Mike did not have. He didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
You know, it was pretty apparent that he wasn't going to check raise with clubs. I don't think he had clubs.
It was a $2,500 pot. I think if Michael bets 2,000, Mike might have
minimum 1,600, 1,700. 600 is just a. I got to tell you, one of the reasons I hate that bet, that $600 bet on the river, is if later on you want to represent and you're trying to bluff somebody out,
right?
Well, you're never going to bluff somebody out with a $600 bet. You're giving the guy 4 or 5 to 1 to call. So some people could say, well, wait, when I bluff, though, I'll bet more. Well, that's good. You're going to bet more when you don't have it and bet less when you do have it? That doesn't make any sense.
Butt moves over here to seat 2.
New floor man here. That's I believe his name is Herman.
Herman?
Herman.
His nickname is Sean. I'm getting worried.
Sean, but I call him Herman. Oh. Okay.
No, his name's Herman. It's just his nickname is Sean.
I don't think his name is Herman. I call him Herman.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea what his name is. No clue.
He looks like a Herman.
He looks like a Herman, doesn't he? I think so. Now, Mike's got an ace. Is he gonna be in trouble if an ace falls here?
You're my dealer, sweetie. I got a raise when you're here.
And Mike is going to raise.
And Mike should be happy. I mean, Mike really should have probably lost $1,500 more than that. Not even a question. He hits top 2.
Gary's going to call with pocket deuces.
I got to tell you, I mean, Mike might watch this later on and he's like, come on, there's no way I'm calling $2,000, guys. I don't buy it. I think he calls $2,000. Or at least $1,600.
Well, if Mike bets here, I can't imagine that Gary can continue on with deuces.
No. Notice how Ramsey didn't even call the raise with ace-jack offsuit against Mike. Yeah, that's a pretty ugly flop for 2 deuces.
Yeah. What was the name of the boss, the station manager in WKRP in Cincinnati? Was it Irv or Herb? Or was it
I believe
Herman?
it was Herb.
Herb.
No, Herb. I believe it was Herb.
Herb as in Herb.
WKRP.
Herb.
Cincinnati.
Okay. Herb Tarlick, right? He wasn't? He wasn't in charge? I thought he was the manager. Button moves over here to seat 3.
It would be Herb. Herb is what we eat in food, right?
Wow,
Pastas?
pocket aces here for seat 5 in the big blind. An ace-king of clubs from Michael over there in seat 1.
Wow. Let's see if Michael gets in trouble here.
Now, Joe played aces KG before against Mike. Will he just smooth call if it gets heads up here?
Well, you see Joe, you wonder if his willingness to really put a lot of chips in there with aces.
Mike is definitely coming in because he's got Jack 10 of hearts, so this definitely might change something. See if Joe's going to re-raise.
And once again, I think you have to raise this up. I want to raise it up anyway because Michael, by the way, is a very tight player. If he's raising pre-flop, he probably has a pretty strong hand. I want to put some heat on it. Yeah, there you go. He's going to raise it up another $500. I think he's still relatively deep. He's got $1,000 chips there, remember.
Yeah, he's made another 500. It looks like he might be about 4,000 deep.
And remember, he did not raise last time with pocket aces. That's got to be in these guys' heads. And wow, Michael's going to call this. That's probably going to bring Mike in here.
does.
And this pot is quickly $2,000.
Yep.
Great lands.
Unbelievable.
Here we go, 3 ways. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Top set here. And Mike is Corporation Mike is double gutted here.
It's a great flop for. Honestly, it's a great flop for all 3 players.
Wow,
Michael
the
is dead.
case ace comes out.
700.
This is unbelievable. A $700 bet here by Joe. Michael's got ace king.
Small bet. Small bet.
$700 bet into a $2,000 pot, and Corporation Mike is double gutted with a rainbow board.
Now with ace king here, let me ask you. Now you can beat kings. You can't. You probably wouldn't put your opponent on aces, but you can't beat queens now. Is there value to raising? Remember, if you raise, kings are going to throw it away, and if he has queens, you're dead.
Well, if he calls, I got to tell you, it's an easy call from Mike behind.
Oh, of course it's an easy call for Mike, but I'm wondering, with ace king here, do you really want to raise? Is there value to raising? I always kind of wonder that. Remember, this guy is representing a big pocket pair with a board of ace, queen, 8. If he has jacks or kings, well, he's going to easily throw it away if you raise him.
And it looks like he is just going to call. And the funny thing for Mike is, yeah, he is going to call as well. And this pot is $4,100.
I love Mike's hand.
And Mike's got, in essence, an open-ended straight draw here. Here we go to the turn. Well, the turn's a 4.
Now, if you're Mike, would you ever put in kind of a little blockish bet here? No, well, look at this.
And he's moving it. He's moving it in.
Joe is going all in here. He's got a lot of money. He's got $1,000 chips there.
It was a $4,000 pot. He's going to bet $3,600. And if you're Michael here,
Wow.
you got to look at it like, boy, do I have the same hand at best? Because I can't beat ace
man.
queen.
You can't beat queens.
Yeah.
Really a tough spot. Now, the funny thing is, Joe kind of put out a smallish $700 bet into a $2,000 pot
Right.
to see what happened. Got called in both spots and said, okay, I'm done with this. I'm taking it down right now. Because right now, he has to have the best hands. Remember that. Right now, he has to have
Wow,
the best
and I
hands.
think Michael moved all in. Michael moved all in to get Corporation Mike out of there.
And he's drawing dead.
And Joe is instantly called, and Michael is going to double Joe through. Let's see if Corporation Mike would have gotten there if Michael had just called.
Well, we're
with
gonna
ace
see.
king. Yep. Here we go to the river. Oh, the river's a queen.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, I like the way Mike played the hands. There's really no point. He had to realize that these players are probably pretty strong. He's got to almost hope that one of these guys has a set of queens or a set of aces. And if they do, well, if he hits a king or a 9, he's going to break them.
Because my question to you was going to be, it was a $3,600 bet. If the guy calls again, now the pot is $11,000, for you to call. Can you again call with Jack 10? It's a total rainbow board there on the turn.
You got to look at it and go, okay, well, I'm getting about 3 to 1 on
I
my
gotta
money.
think, with the line there, with the type of betting that went on, you have to put at least one of those guys on a minimum of 2 pair, and probably one of them has a set, right?
Yeah, no,
Somebody
definitely.
has to have at least ace queen.
Right, the problem is, though, is it's kind of a question of how much more money Michael had in seat 1.
Because you have to have some implied odds. You're only getting about 3 to 1, and
Yeah,
your chase is only 8 outs with 1 card to come.
Yeah, exactly. That was my point. I'm trying to think. I think you need 4 to 1 to make that call, right?
Without any implied odds, yeah.
And he's only getting 3 to 1, so it's a real questionable.
They're going to try their best.
I'm not even even yet. Still stuck. To get it in, I'm still
Like this.
Big button moves here to seat 5.
Get a nice post here from Big Daddy Cinti talking about the World Series of Poker. His thought is that the World Series of Poker winner is severely overpaid.
Well, I thought it was interesting to note, I was talking with chip burner Robert Turner, having some sushi on Sunday, that he placed, I think, in the 90s last year and won about $80,000. This year, the guy who placed in the same place as he did won almost half as much.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Paramagic Gil, who's always on the show,
Right.
he finished in 70th place, okay? In a 8,700 person field, and he only earned $55,000. He made $55,000. I was like, that's it? Man, that seems like a small amount. Well, you think about it, I mean, the top 3 places made $21 million. $21 million to the top 3 places?
Danny has raised it up here.
And you think about it, Jamie Gold probably got another $10 million from Bodog. You wonder if he really needed all 12 of it.
Danny raised it, Jeff called. If Danny can bet here, he will take it down.
Well, he's out of position, though. Puts him in a tough spot. Jeff in there with one of my favorite hands.
Where is it? On me?
And it went check, check. Turns a 4. Now Jeff has the best hand. Check, check again.
Oh, I'm sorry. There you go.
And here we go to the river. Well, now Jeff makes 2 pair. Gotta think he's gonna bet a little bit here. And again, for Danny, is it a peculiar bet? Is this guy trying to steal it? He checked the flop, checked the turn, and now he's betting the river. Again, if he's trying to steal with ace-queen, though, you don't beat that. I mean, just about the only thing you could beat here is ace-8, right?
Yeah, it's just pick a better spot, really. I mean, it's one of those times where you go, well, what did he call me with? I guess he could have queen 10, right? 10-8's already there. I mean, queen 10 is
Remember,
really
but
the
he
only
checked
draw.
it all the way through, so I don't know how you give him credit for queen 10.
No, I'm just trying to think of
Yeah.
something that, I mean,
You can start giving him a hand like queen 10 if he called the bet on the flop, but because there was no bet, he could have any 2 cards.
I mean, I want to go back to what Kathy Liebert said last year and when she talked about it, and you got to look at it. When you play the hand so passively and check it down, if the guy finally does bet on the river, give it up. You know, you haven't put any, it's not like you put any heat on it.
Let's take a look at the final chip count of the night.
Wow, 68,000 on the table, and this is only going to grow. Danny with 17,000, Joe with 11,500. Ramsey bringing up the rear. He's bought in for the minimum, only $2,000. Very short in this game. And we'll keep track of this. Danny up 8K. Alan up 5,200. Alan is on absolute tear. Mike quickly down 6,500. Jeff down 3,000. You know, Jeff has actually made a nice comeback. I'm sorry, Jeff actually bad comeback. But Joe has made a nice comeback, is what I meant to say. Joe was down 6,000 earlier and is now up $1,500 after he doubled through with that set of aces.
Got a raise here by seat number 1 to 300. I want to ask everyone again, get your hands in for the video blog. Put in the subject title, Hand for Blog. We are always looking for them. We'll do it on Thursday. Email here. It says, hey boys, I was interested in what you might have to say regarding the following situation in No Limit tourney I was just in. I was on the button and triple bet my king-queen off suit and was called in 3 places. I had capped my cards with the dealer button, and the dealer absent-mindedly mucked my hand. I had Corporation Mike response, then called the floor. I guess that means he went crazy.
I would assume.
The so-called card
manager.
room manager ruled that my hand was dead, and my point was I should have at least got my chips back. His ruling was the button is not a card cap. My question is, should I take the bullets back out of my 45?
No, I would shoot him. I think that's fair. No, that sucks. That's just, it's one of those things where you just go, I mean, there's not much they can do. Once they muck your hand and there's action afterwards, there's not much they can do. But you just want to, take the dealer out back and just pretty much kill him. But hey, what can you do?
All
clubs,
are
yeah, like
known
that.
as a club.
Not a club in sight. Does anybody have a pair? I think Joe has the best hand here with ace-3.
Well, actually, Michael ran.
There you go.
Yeah, he backed into 2 pair.
2 pair. There you go.
6-3. And I was wrong. Herb Tyler was the salesman
You know what's interesting here? Now, I wanted to go back to this.
of WKRP. Mr. Carlson ran the station. Excuse me.
I tell you, man, I love our group. Jump on it right away. Okay, now this is a really interesting. Big Daddy Cinti talking about the prize pool from the World Series of Poker. It's really interesting. Just a couple of things I will reiterate what he said. He goes, this year, if you beat 8,703 players and finished in 170th, you got $47,000. But last year, if you had to beat 5,449 players and finished in the same spot, you got $46,000. So basically, you finished in the same exact spot, but you have to beat an additional 2,300 players. Okay? I'm sorry, 3,300 players. The prize pool is $33 million more. Okay? Yet, somehow you make the same money. That seems a little bit off, doesn't it?
Did we turn that arrow off?
Oh, it's cold here.
Cold. No, it's hot.
Got one guy saying it's cold, one guy saying it's hot.
2 planes.
Don't turn it off.
776 here.
No, don't turn it up, but it's blowing right here.
Hey, look at that. What a gentleman. Alan's giving him his fan.
It's pretty strong. Okay.
And he says here, he goes, when the tournament was down to the last 150 players, there was enough money in the prize pool that every player could have chopped it up for approximately $500,000 each. Where did it go? Well, to the winner, so that Harris and ESPN could brag. First place this year, $12 million.
Right.
First place last year, $7.5 million. And somehow Harris takes credit for that. Okay? What a friggin' joke that place is.
Fly, please. License.
So do you find that there's value still in playing the main event, just in terms of, I mean, would you
There's-
rush to play it next year, or did you
No,
have any problem sitting it out this
I
year?
had honestly, I
Yeah.
had no problem not playing many
I didn't
World Series
either.
events.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I
Yeah.
was like, the World Series became such a circus this year. And I got to tell you, next year, I'll probably be there again.
Right.
And I'll probably just go enjoy the parties.
As opposed to play. Yeah.
You know what? I'll play in the WPT's Mandalay Bay event. I can go play at the Bellagio. I can play tournaments. I can play cash games when I
Right.
want to. And I'll enjoy the parties. The Harris, the World Series, I got to tell you, Harris, I honestly don't know if I'll ever play in the Harris tournament again. I don't really care about it. Whatever.
Strong words from a strong man.
No, it's just whatever. It's like Harris is a friggin' joke. I swear to God. I mean, they're just a total joke. They still, by the way, I emailed them about the charity event because I'm asking them for some sort of like documentation, so at least I can write off my
Right,
$10,000. And I emailed them like a month ago. Then I did a follow-up email 2 weeks ago. I did another follow-up email 2 days ago. Still haven't heard anything from anybody.
Have you heard anything from Phil Gordon?
No, I haven't heard anything from him either.
Really? Wow. You wonder if they just say it's a charity event and they'll give it out, but they never give the money out.
I don't know exactly. How do I know they're not doing that?
Joey's bet here with an open-end straight draw. Mike is called with a gut shot. Turns a 6. No pair against no pair here.
I got to tell you, I wouldn't put it past Harris.
Check, check. And the river's a king, and who's going to bluff at it? Mike checks.
9 high is
Wow,
good
if
here.
Joe doesn't bet at this,
9 high is good. Both players have a pair of 6s, king, queen, and Mike's got 9.
wow.
9 high. Joe trying to figure it out, and Joe quickly going to figure out that 9 will play.
Well,
How big is that pot? 9 high.
it's about a $400 or $500 pot there.
Unbelievable.
Well, more than that, about $600. Got about 10 minutes left.
You know, the
for
funny
show.
thing is, I whined and griped about Harris for the past, 3 months. And in the beginning, everybody was kind of like, oh, come on, Dave, stop with the sour grapes. Okay. I got to tell you, though, after being there for the entire World Series, and seeing how they work, and talking to a lot of the floor managers and their floormen and stuff,
Yeah.
Fly, please.
I've come to the opinion that the vast majority of the people that even work for Harris don't like Harris either. There are exceptions. I know there's one guy that always emails us that absolutely loves Harris and loves working for him. Congratulations. I'm glad you're happy. Most of the people I talk to hate it.
No, another guy. And we just flip a pot.
Looks like Jamie Gold is getting sued for half of his winnings.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Bruce Crispin Lester claims that Gold promised to pay him half of whatever he won at the series as part of an informal arrangement. Lester also asked the judge to stop Gold from claiming or spending any of the money until the dispute is settled, according to a suit filed Monday in the District Court of Los Angeles.
4, please.
Interesting. Four-way action here. King, Queen, 5 with a couple of diamonds. Mike's got King 9. He's got the best of it. He's going to bet. You know, I want to get David Kelsey in here if he's willing to and kind of clear the air, because I've talked to him off the show because he really knows Jamie Gold well. Because I asked him, well, how much did Johnny Chan get a piece of it? He said nothing. Now everyone's saying, well, Johnny Chan got 10% for coaching him. I mean, what is the truth? Turn is an ace there. Check,
Rumors, and gossip, man, I tell you.
Rivers a 4. Well, if Kelsey wants to,
Takes
I don't
the
know if
world
he cares.
down.
Mike's going to win it with King 9. But I specifically remember asking Kelsey about the Johnny Chan thing, and he said that Chan didn't get anything.
Back to Harris. I was actually watching, and I'm watching the World Series on ESPN. And by the way, I love ESPN. It's one of my favorite channels. Nothing wrong with ESPN whatsoever. But Harris, by the way, have you seen that commercial they have where their big fat CEO actually comes out and goes, we care about you.
Well, you mean with the compulsive gambling
Yeah,
thing?
the big fat guy, the CEO of Harris. The obese,
Yeah, that
disgusting
guy.
man. That you just want to, stick your friggin' fist down his throat.
Don't hold back, Dave. Jeez.
Oh, I swear. God. I mean, they're just so full of shit. You know? I mean, I remember the first day of the tournament, the World Series, they actually were like, thank you for making this the biggest tournament in the world. And they give you back to the player how?
Mike is going to raise it up here to 300 out of the small blind. He's got ace queen. Ramsey's got king queen suited. You talked about how tight he is. Is he going to get involved here? He calls. He is dominated here. And I'm going to tell you, if this board comes queen high, is Ramsey gonna be able to get away from it against Mike?
Yeah, see, against
And
Mike,
Jeff
you're not
calls
sure.
a weak ace over there.
That's
on
the thing. Against Mike, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to tell you, if the board comes out queen high, I'm not sure I get away from
And
it.
how about that? Queen 9-3.
I mean, I got to tell you, against Mike, I'm not sure I get away from this. I got to tell you. I might even trap Mike with this hand. You know what I mean?
Mike is going to come out and bet.
Incorrectly, but
He bets 500, and Ramsey does not look that deep. I wouldn't be surprised if he pushes here. I really
now the only
wouldn't.
thing is, though, is sometimes if you're in position against Mike, you might want to just call him because if he has nothing,
And you push.
you
right.
want to give him enough rope to hang himself.
Right.
Because if he has nothing and you push, he's going to throw it away.
And he is just going to call.
Right. Well, is there value to raising this? I mean, if Mike has ace-7, he's not going to do anything.
This spot is $2,000 here.
And Mike knows Ramsey's a pretty tight player.
Turns an 8.
Well, Jack-10 has just gotten there. Can't beat Jack-10. That was an open-ended straight draw on the flop.
Mike checks.
And, you know, it's a nice play by Mike. Mike is actually controlling the pot here. But at the same time, he knows Ramsey's not deep.
And listen, that's exactly what Mike said. I hope you don't have Jack 10.
Yeah.
But Mike is in great shape. Ramsey needs a king here and a king only. Here we go to the river. Nope.
Not going to happen, and Mike's kicker will play here.
Yeah.
Both players have queens and eights.
And again, I think you and I both agree that if that same thing happened to us, it's real tough with that stack size.
Yeah.
If he's going to call the raise with king queen, and he hits the dry queen there on the flop.
I mean, if I have $6,000 or $7,000, obviously I'm not going to go broke to Mike.
Right.
But if I have $2,000, I'm playing 20, 40. If I call a raise with king queen against Mike, I'm probably going to go broke there too.
Butt moves over here.
Have I hammered enough about Harris yet?
Seat 4. I stopped listening a while ago. I mean, I'm the one that should have the biggest gripe. Jeez. And I'm over it. And
I have no personal. It's not a personal gripe against them. It really isn't.
Why not?
You know that guy, we call him Crazy Mike? He's actually Mr. Gatorade on 2+2. Plays a lot of, he was playing 100, 200 heads up, limit hold'em
Oh,
on
that
Sunday.
guy? Yeah.
Boy, what a whack job, huh?
He really is a whack job.
Yeah.
You wonder if his mom, did crack or something while he was
He
in the
likes to
womb.
watch the Fox Sports channel. I mean, Fox News channel, excuse me. While
In
he
the middle of the
plays.
game, he gets up and starts screaming.
Yeah.
Three places.
Three-way action here. 8-8-6. Oh, Mike's got the best hand here with 6-3.
Is he a good player?
I think he is.
I mean, it's funny. I've only played like 30-60 hold'em with him, and he donked it up so much. Maybe it's lower than he normally plays. That he donked it up so much that we loved him in the game. And I've talked to him since, and he actually admitted that. He goes, "Oh yeah, when I play small, I just dunk it up. You probably loved me in that game." I go, "Yeah, well, I did."
Mike bet the flop. Ramsey called. He's open-ended.
Now Ramsey's rebought for another 2,000, I assume.
Yeah, and Ramsey has check now on the ace.
Actually,
just
Ramsey
1,000.
Okay. Oh, it's,
And
oh,
Mike is
short
going to
buy.
bet again.
Now I got to tell you, if you're going to short buy in this game, why not just go play in a smaller game? Why not go play a 5-10 game, right?
Yeah, this 1,000 is a short buy. This is a 2,000 game.
Well, I mean, but it puts you in such a spot though. You can't call raises. Wow, and apparently this is the last hand of the night. Night has just flown by, I got to tell you. And you don't want to miss tomorrow night. Tomorrow night will be more 20-40 no limit hold'em action. Should be really, really great tomorrow night again. Once again, Legends of Poker tomorrow is 4:15 p.m. start. $1,000. I promise I will keep my ranting about Harris. I'm done. I'm over it.
I can't win the big hand.
Pocket nines here, a couple of red nines for Jeff.
Ace-queen suited for Mike in seat 4.
And he's gonna open raise here. He makes it 220.
Mike calls.
Mike quickly calls.
220.
Now, Allen's got a king 4 suited. Is he going to get involved from up front? His hearts are dominated by Mike.
He does. He's gonna call this.
Yeah.
And he is, if hearts come off, he is dead. Dead in the water, I tell you.
So here we go, about a $700 pot going 3 ways.
Oh, there's the ace and the queen. Wow.
Top two. Well, Jeff can't get too involved with this, can he?
No, we always talk about it. It's a real easy hand. He's going to put a little continuation bet out there. But Mike's going to make a little minimum raise.
Yeah, he makes it 800 to go.
And it's a pretty easy laydown, I got to tell you. I mean, even if you know Mike makes moves on you, is this really the flop that you want to take a stand with? It's 2 red nines.
Right. I think that's going to do it for us tonight.
Wow, what a night of poker, I tell you.
Yeah, that's great. Surprise little 2040 game. We'll have a 2040 game again tomorrow. Probably tomorrow's going to be some more familiar faces, obviously. And then hopefully we'll continue with the big games. On Thursday, we're going to be doing another tournament. Not exactly sure about how that's going to work yet because the tournament's scheduled to start at 7. So we'll let you know tomorrow exactly what we're doing.
But it's a
Thursday.
media event, though, so I'll probably win.
Actually, I'm confusing that with another tournament we're doing next week, which is the charity event.
Right.
Thursday will be a tournament, the final table starting at 7. So for Dave Tuckman, everybody here in the booth, I'm Bart Hansen. Good night, everybody, from Live in the Bike.